Warrior Lore. Chapter 107, Strong Aid. Chapter 107, Strong Aid. Sponsored by M. Jackson. East of the dead swamp, a slim figure was flying in the sky whilst carrying a person. Under her, two towering giant men were also sprinting with high speed, as if they were angry black bears. Every time they hopped up, they were able to leap around a dozen meters through the air. In the surrounding swamps, a weird person covered in scales was half submerged in the mud. He moved through the swamp like a giant earthworm. His vicious eyes glinted with a chilling light. He kept watching the sky above the swamp, watching the flying slim figure in the air. Further away, there were crazy roaring sounds. Someone was flustered and exasperated and kept clamoring along the way. His soul consciousness spread out and covered them from afar. The abnormal activity in the east of the dead swamp made many active warriors in this area frightened and baffled. The warriors who were hunting demon beasts all stopped, watching the sky with surprise on their faces. No one knew what exactly was happening. As if they heard their master's summons, many demon beasts in the swamps all jumped out one after another and stormed towards the east. In a moment, the eastern area of the dead swamp was a mess. Everyone was looking out for themselves. At the same time, Qi Xiao, Zhuo and Wu Yunlian had already left the Yin Valley and were walking towards the Yin field under the full exposure of the sun. The Yin field had been cleared of its natural Yin Qi that covered it all year round. Under the blazing sun, all the plants that grew on the Yin field withered and died. There was also nothing left of the demon beasts that were previously active in the Yin field. They either died or ran away. The enormous Yin field now looked like a dead zone, without a single trace or life, not even the sight of a single leaf from a plant. "Master, will Shi Yin be okay?" Zhuo worriedly asked. "I don't know." Qi Xiao shook his head. He faintly sighed in his mind, feeling a little guilty. He knew that the odds were against Shi Yin this time. Although the dead swamp was big, people such as Baiming Shang and Zhua Qi all had sky realm capabilities. Not only could they fly in the air, they also had an omnipresent soul consciousness that could spread over a large area. Unless it was a master of the same level, it would be very hard to escape their hunt. At the Shi family, Qi Xiao once promised Shi Jin that he would do his best to protect Shi Yin. However, now that Shi Yin had encountered great danger, he could only stand by and watch. This made Qi Xiao feel a little guilty in his heart. Whenever Zhuo asked whether Shi Yin would be okay, Qi Xiao would shamefully blush a bit, but there was nothing he could do. "Those two women, why are they following us?" Wu Yunlian furrowed her brows. She quietly glanced back and said confusedly, "I think they came with the Baiming family. No need to care about them." Qi Xiao glanced behind him and said indifferently. Mu Yudai and Di Yalan both looked desolate. There was an undissolvable dark haze on their faces as they slowly paced behind Qi Xiao and the group. Even though Zhou Zi he didn't clearly state his identity, the two girls had already guessed that he was the Lord of the Dark World. Although he was not here now, once he properly dealt with Shi Yin, he will definitely come and take away Mu Yudai. The reason why he didn't take care of Mu Yudai now was because he knew she definitely wouldn't be able to escape. Both Mu Yudai and Di Yalan knew this deep in their hearts. In that strange space, Shi Yin already made a hard blow to their minds. Now thinking that more miserable fates would follow in the future, the two girls felt fretful, not knowing where to go. "Xiao Dai, will Ding Yin be okay?" Di Yalan lowered her head and faintly sighed. Warrior Lord, Mu Yudai's pretty face became cold and she sneered, "He's dead for sure. Baiming Shang is getting involved personally, and unless he could fly, he'll never escape his hands. Not only will he die, the Shi family will be doomed along with him. Baiming Shang is pissed. He will never let this go. I don't know why, but I feel like he's going to be okay. He always shows us a surprise." Di Yalan murmured under her breath and lightly shook her head. "Surprise?" Mu Yudai's expression was cold. "There will be no surprise this time." "Hey!" At this moment, Qi Xiao suddenly raised his head and looked into the sky. Suddenly, his face changed and he exclaimed loudly, "Cyan Bloodbat." "Cyan Bloodbat?" Zhuo dazed for a second and also looked up into the sky. "Hey, That is a really big bat. Master, what is it? Is there something scary about that cyan blood bat? The cyan blood bat is a demon beast that can evolve continuously. Its body is solid as iron. It's very strong, and it especially likes to eat the flesh of warriors. So this is a very brutal demon beast. A level 3 cyan blood bat is already very strong. The cyan blood bats in the sky now are all at least level 3. And now there's 50 of them at once. This is not right. Wu Yunlin looked up at the sky and murmured, "There are people riding the cyan blood bats, and they are strong. The weakest being in the disaster realm. Most of them are in the earth or nirvana realms." Qi Shao took a deep breath. His expression was more serious than ever. The leader's capability is unfathomable. Even I cannot be able to sense his true capability. In our area, I don't think there is any force that can suddenly dispatch this many masters. Even the royals of the Fire Empire or the God-blessed Empire can't send out this many masters at once. After hearing that, Wu Yunlian's expression suddenly changed. "No, they're coming down." Qi Zhao's heart sank, and he said hurriedly, "Xiao Shi, stand next to me and don't move." Mu Yu Dai and Di Yalan also noticed the abnormal situation in the sky. The girls both looked up at the 7 to 8 meter long bodies of the cyan blood bats, their eyes glinting with a cruel, violent light as they slowly descended. The two girls were frightened, not knowing what was going on. On the leading cyan blood bat, the Shura king Xiao Hani boldly sat there and condescendingly looked at the people below. His husky voice said, "Which of you knows Shi Yin?" "Shi Yin, Shi Yin, Shi Yin." Qi Shao, Zhuo and Mu Yu Dai exclaimed at the same time. Everyone's faces were full of awe, not knowing why these people would want to find Shi Yin. Shi Yin sure has offended a lot of people." Mu Yu Dai snorted. She righteously assumed that Xiao Han Yi and his group were strong enemies that Shi Yin provoked. Qi Zhao's face slightly changed. He didn't immediately answer. Instead, he first put his fists together and said, "May I ask what you are finding Shi Yin for, senior?" Qi Shao saw that Xiao Han Yi's capability was unfathomable. He also saw that the Yang family's Shura bloodguards who sat on the cyan blood bats were mostly in the earth and nirvana realms. He was extremely stunned, so he didn't dare to overlook this matter. He kept his tone as one of utmost respect. "Senior?" Zhuo, Wu Yunlian, Di Yalan, and Mu Yu Dai were all dumbfounded. They became a little absent-minded. Qi Shao was the Sky Realm Master of Cloud Mountain. He was one of the handful of strong figures in the God-blessed Empire, the Fire Empire, and the Merchant Union. It was said that he was more than 100 years old and was a well-known master and senior in all of the 3 countries. But today here he was referring to someone else as senior. Everyone were speechless. Shi Yin is the great-grandson of Yang Qingdi, the head of our Yang family in the Endless Sea. The reason we came this time is to bring him back to the Endless Sea. Do you know where he is? Xiao Hani saw that Qi Zhao's attitude was not bad, so he slowly loosened his expression and did not expose his irritable, crazy side. The Endless Sea? The Yang family? Great-grandson of the head of the family? Xiao Hanyi's words made everyone petrified. Especially Mu Yu Dai and Di Yalan. The expression on their faces was weirder than ever. They would never have thought that Shi Yin had another identity. "So you are the masters from the Endless Sea." Qi Shao nodded. He raised his head and stared at Xiao Han Yi for a moment. Seeing that he was becoming impatient, Qi Shao finally said, "Shi Yin has obtained the treasure from the Gate of Heaven and suddenly disappeared from inside the gate. Now he should be somewhere in the outer perimeter of the Dead Swamp. Currently, several Sky Realm Masters are searching for him in the outer perimeters of the Dead Swamp. If you want to find him, then do so quickly. If you're too late, then he will have met with a grim fate." Grim fate. All of a sudden, an extremely strong bloody smell came from Xiao Hanyi's body. This bloody smell covered the distance, like a canopy covering them from the sky, making everyone dizzy and hard to breathe from the strong odor. If anything happens to Shi Yin, then all the nations of those involved will be buried with him. Xiao Hani left these few words, and then slapped the cyan bloodbat and said, "Spread out and search the whole Dead Swamp. If anyone finds him, send the message immediately." The group of Shura bloodguards from the Yang family rode on the cyan bloodbats. and in a moment they were all gone. "Master, is this guy strong?" Zhuashur said curiously. "I'm afraid 3 Baiming Shangs together wouldn't be able to fight him." Qi Zhao's expression was grim. He meaningfully glanced at Mu Yu Dai and Di Yalan. His voice steadily said, "The Baiming family is dead for sure. The people on the Cyan bloodbaths are enough to sweep away all the 5 families of the Merchant Union. Baiming Shang is doomed this time." Mu Yu Dai's face turned pale. Her body collapsed and she fell on her ass. "Xiao Dai," Di Yalan exclaimed, "what happened to you?" Mu Yu Dai's expression shifted unpredictably and complex emotions flickered across her eyes. She looked like she was laughing and crying at the same time, as if she had gone mad. After a very long while, Mu Yu Dai's expression slowly became determined. She suddenly stood up. "Come on, let's go find Shi Yin. Why would we want to find him? I will try everything to become his woman. No matter what he wants me to do, I'll do it for him." Di Yalan exclaimed. Her hand covered her mouth, with a face full of disbelief. Xia Xian Yin clinched onto Shi Yin, and they were still flying through the air, galloping crazily towards the east of the dead swamp. Suddenly, an untraceable darkness started to slowly form under the clouds ahead. A mass of endless dark power suddenly rippled from the darkness. It wrapped Xia Xian Yan's body, suddenly putting a pause to her speedy flight. "Stop." In the pure darkness, there came a cold voice. "I am the Lord of the Dark World. I don't want to make enemies with you people from the Endless Sea. If you drop that kid, then you can go now." Xia Xian Yin floated in midair, her expression slightly cold. She said indifferently, "I suggest you to mind your own business. My people will arrive very soon. I know you have the capability of a Sky Realm First Sky Warrior, but you're far too weak if you want to go against us. In the Endless Sea, people like you can only be a dedicated warrior, and not even one of the core warriors. If you want to keep your prestige in this place, then mind your own business." Not only was Xia Xian Yin not scared, she even gave out threats. "I wanted to get rid of exactly this fate. That's why I want what that kid has." In the pitch-black darkness, the voice continued, "Don't force me. In order to get that thing, I can give up the dark world. As long as I can step into the God realm in the future, I can rebuild the dark world anywhere, even in the Endless Sea." Xia Xian Yan's face changed. She suddenly realized she probably won't be able to convince the opponent with words. Xia Xian Yin did not mince his words as she seemed to know that Baiming Shang was almost here. And with the situation with the mistress of the dark world forcing her hand, Xia Xian Yin couldn't just directly take Shi Yin away. After her response, Xia Xian Yin did not hesitate. She moved and grabbed Shi Yin and threw him into the distance. At the same time, she opened her mouth and a glistening dagger flew out from under her tongue. The dagger was covered in mysterious runes. The runes were only the size of tadpoles, but they slowly shifted on the dagger as if they had a life of their own. Once the dagger came out, waves of mysterious power came from the runes. That power was able to cut off someone's soul consciousness. Xia Xian Yin swung the dagger and casually slashed down. Suddenly, layers of ripples appeared in the void, glinting with light. The layers of ripples were slashed by Xia Xian Yan's dagger, and in the ripples, Baiming Shang's furious face was faintly displayed. "Xia Xian Yin, how dare you cut off my soul consciousness? I will kill you." In the distance, Baiming Shang roared in madness. His voice was filled with an earth-shaking wrath. Xia Xian Yin remained unmoved. She held the dagger in her hand, and her body swiftly danced. The dagger drew beams of light, making layers of soul consciousness waves in the plain void and shattering that soul consciousness bit by bit. The mistress of the dark world, who was hiding in the pitch-black darkness, saw that Xia Xian Yin could cut off the soul consciousness of Sky Realm Masters. Realizing that Xia Xian Yin was not easily trifled with, the mistress did not venture out when she saw that Baiming Shang was about to arrive. Instead, that cluster of darkness slowly floated up the sky again and stopped inside a dark cloud. Thump! Shi Yan's body suddenly dropped into the swamp. Zhuaqi's face was filled with joy, and he immediately stirred his martial spirit. wrapping Shi Yin in layers of mud. He then dragged Shi Yin with him and sank into the swamp. Shi Yin instantly felt that it was hard to breathe. He hastily gathered his concentration and held in his breath. He secretly circulated the power in his body to prepare for any upcoming situations. In the cluster of mud, Shi Yin felt like he was sinking God knows how many meters into the depths of the swamp. Suddenly, the mud cluster wrapping around his body abruptly dissipated. This was a tightly sealed, 5-square-meter cavity in the mud. There was mud all around and only a small amount of air, with no exit. In the mud cavity, there was only the excited-looking Zhuo Qi by his side. Zhuo Qi rubbed his hands together, looking very excited. He laughed sneakily and said, "We are 100 meters under the swamp. This cavity is created by my martial spirit. It can guarantee that you won't suffocate to death. Okay, now we can talk about what happened in that strange space. If you hand me everything, I can promise that I won't kill you and I will even escort you out of the dead swamp. You can figure it out yourself." Shi Yin spread out his hands and stood still in his spot. "Whatever you can find on me, you can take. I only want what you got from the strange space." Zhuo Qi dazed, and then said ruthlessly, "I have no interest in anything else." "I didn't get anything." Shi Yin shook his head and said calmly, "Only bits of starlight entered my body and now it has merged with my blood and bones. Maybe if you eat my flesh, you can still get some power from the starlight." "Kid, you really think I wouldn't dare to eat you?" Zhuo Qi licked his lips and said cruelly, "If I can get power from eating you, then I wouldn't mind eating you whole." Shi Yin's expression remained calm. He simply sat down and said, "It's up to you. The thing is in my body anyway and I can't take it out, so do what you want." "Kid, you would rather die than give it away?" Zhuo Qi's expression was ferocious. He pondered and then suddenly said, "Did you know that I have many ways to make you wish you were dead?" Shi Yin was silent, and he didn't say a thing. The profound qi, negative energies, and yin qi all quietly came out of his body and started to slowly spread around the entire cavity. The 3 different powers spread out, but didn't immediately form into. Shi Yin was focused as he secretly took precautions. If Zhuo Qi made a move next, he would create the without hesitation. He knew that the definitely won't be able to go against the Sky Realm Zhuo Qi, but he only wanted to use it to restrain Zhuo Qi for a bit. As long as they could trap Zhuo Qi for a moment, even if it was only a few minutes, he grabbed the opportunity to flee to the surface of the swamp and maybe even find a chance to escape. Boom, 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 boom. Earth-shaking sounds came from above the swamp. The violent power fell into the swamp, and even Shi Yin, who was 100 meters deep in the swamp, could still sense the commotion from above. "Kid, don't expect that woman to save you. Now that Bai Ming Sheng is here, she won't even be able to help herself." Zhuo Qi took a deep breath in and clenched his teeth. "Don't force me to take extreme measures, just give me the thing now. I will promise you that if you're obedient, I will escort you out of the dead swamp. You know my power in the dead swamp. As long as I'm willing, even if that woman can't protect you, I can. How's this? I only got the sky full of starlight from the space, and now all that starlight is in my body. The starlight can let me absorb power from the stars. It is a martial spirit. If you know how to transfer martial spirits, I wouldn't mind giving it to you. Other than that, I have nothing else to say." Shi Yin said casually. "A martial spirit, one that can absorb power from the stars." Zhuo Qi's face was full of joy. He was so excited that his body was shaking and he laughed loudly. "It certainly is a treasure. Kid, give it to me now. Quickly, give it to me." "Didn't you hear me?" Shi Yin frowned. "That martial spirit is in me. I don't even know how to use it. How am I supposed to give it to you?" "Surely there's a way. There must be a way." Zhuo Qi was extremely excited and he shouted in the cavity, "If you can obtain that martial spirit, then you can definitely give it up too. Hurry and think. You can definitely find a way. Shi Yin, I'll give you 3 days. After 3 days, if you give the martial spirit to me, I will promise to escort you out." 3 days. Shi Yin furrowed his brows and said dismissively, "Okay, I'll think about it carefully." "Yes, you have to think about it carefully. After 3 days, if you still can't do it, hee, then don't blame me for being unkind. Zhuachi grinned. On that day, deafening blows kept coming from outside the swamp, indicating that Xia Xianyan and Baiming Shang were still battling. When the night fell, the fighting outside finally ceased. Shuryan didn't know what was happening outside. His heart sank deeper, and he kept thinking about how to escape from Zhuaqi's hands. Boom, boom. Late at night, waves of a most destructive power suddenly covered the swamp. Those waves of power had such a frightening penetrative force that it pierced 100 meters deep into the swamp. It had an indomitable life force. It kept trying to find traces of warriors in the swamp and came straight at Zhuachi. What the hell? Who is this powerful? Zhuaqi's face suddenly changed, his expression aghast. He saw that the waves of power came at him like flying dragons. He didn't bother about Shuryan anymore. Shrieking, he rushed out of the mud cavity and clashed with the frightening power that carried the scent of blood. Shuryan's eyes brightened. He sucked in a big breath and hurriedly he rushed out of the cavity, floating up towards the surface without regard for anything else. Dash. Chapter 109. The Shura King. Chapter 109. The Shura King. 100 meters deep in the swamp. The muddy and murky water mixed together, and since there was more mud than water in the swamp, it was very tough to escape. Once a man or a beast falls into the swamp, they will slowly sink in and ultimately be engulfed by the swamp, becoming a corpse at the bottom of the swamp, which will eventually rot and never be seen again. The most frightening part of the dead swamp was the sheer size of it. There were hundreds of thousands of swamps, which had swallowed countless warriors and demon beasts, making all of them die within the swamp. Zhuachi was the only exception. As a hybrid between a mud dragon and a human, he could naturally move under the swamps and use the mud in the swamps. In the dead swamp, even if he met a warrior of higher strength, Zhuachi could still easily dive into the depths of the swamps and avoid disaster. All along, Zhuachi fit to the dead swamp like a duck to water and never paid any regard to other people. But this time, deep below the swamp, Zhuachi had a terrified expression, and it seemed like he was terrified. The harsh, pungent odor of blood penetrated through the hundreds of meters of swamp, like the blood of dragons. This spirit of blood had a strong penetrating power and a shockingly frightening strength. If it was targeting him, even hundreds of meters under the surface, it could still force him into an awkward position. Having lived in the dead swamp for so many years, Zhuachi was well aware that the deeper you traveled into the swamp, the more corpse chi you would find. The dead swamp had existed for tens of thousands of years, and countless dead souls were buried under these swamps. Those that died in the swamps couldn't gain redemption, and they always lingered at the bottom of the muddy waters. Because of that, there were always strong corpse chi lingering in the deepest depths of the swamp. The deeper you went, the stronger the corpse chi was. The power of this corpse chi could block the scoping powers of someone's soul consciousness, and it could disrupt all sorts of invading powers. If he didn't have the power to control mud, even Zhuachi wouldn't dare to sink this deep into the swamp. But now that a harsh, bloody chi had penetrated hundreds of meters into the swamp and easily traveled through the strong dead spirits, continuing to chase Zhuachi down. This terrified Zhuachi. For the first time, he sensed death was coming his way. Frightened, Zhuachi could no longer bother with Shuryan. He quickly descended into the depths of the swamp. Pop! Shuryan suddenly rushed out of the mud hole. The mud quickly crushed on top of him, like a heavy mountain. Shuryan's body was completely engulfed in mud. He couldn't breathe, nor see, and he had to use all of his strength to swim upwards towards the surface. This swamp had a special trait. The harder you struggled, the faster you sank. And even hundreds of meters under the surface of the swamp, that trait still applied. Struggling, Shuryan felt like he was in a whirlpool of mud. Not only was he unable to escape, but he was also sinking faster. Shuryan's heart shuddered, and he abruptly stopped his movements. He held in his breath and stopped moving his body. Lights flashed across his mind as he hurriedly tried to think of an idea to escape to the surface. In the depths of the swamp, he couldn't breathe or see, and a flow of corpse chi seemed to be corroding his body. In this state, he would soon die from suffocation. Various thoughts flashed through his mind, and suddenly, in the depths of the swamp, he felt the natural yin chi in his vicinity. Once the yin chi appeared, Shi Yin soon sensed the negative powers that he released before. Shi Yan's mind clicked, and he hurriedly circulated the 3 types of powers in his body. In the swamp, a gravitational field made from yin power, profound chi, and negative energy was formed. Once the field was formed, Shi Yin immediately stirred it and started manipulating the gravitational field to surround himself. His mind was focused on the field, and Shi Yin, very carefully, controlled the field, then making it start to slowly whirl. The 3 powers intertwined together, forming into a massive grinding power. A lot of mud flowed into the field, and moved by the grinding power of the field, it slowly started to float upwards towards the surface. It really does work. Shi Yin was overjoyed. He immediately put all his focus on controlling the gravitational field. Following the rising motion of the gravitational fields, his body also started to rise towards the surface. Pooh! After a minute, suddenly a figure shot out of a muddy area in the swamp. The figure slowly rose up into the sky, flying around 3 meters under the cold moonlight, and then suddenly dropped. Shi Yin! Xia Xian exclaimed, her hands immediately forming into a lotus seal, and a gigantic aqua-colored lotus flower flew out from her palms, directly stopping under Shi Yan's body. Shi Yin, who was falling towards the swamp, fell on his ass on the icy lotus flower. The lotus flower carried him and flew away from the swamp, stopping by Xia Xian's side. Phew! Xia Xian lightly breathed out. She put her hands together, taking the form of a worshipper. The lotus flower that carried Shi Yin away from the swamp formed into streams of passing light that entered into the palms of her hands and disappeared bit by bit. You're hurt? Shi Yin looked at her and frowned. Xia Xian's eyes contained signs of exhaustion, and her earlobes, which could be seen outside of her veil, were pale as a sheet. It could be assumed that her entire face must have looked the same. This is the aftermath of using my reincarnation martial spirit, but it's fine. I already used the nutrition pill from your young family. I will have recovered by tomorrow. Xia Xian's expression was cold as she pulled a strand of hair from behind her ears and spoke dismissively. My young family? Shi Yin was stunned. He said with a deep voice, What are you talking about? Boom, 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 boom. In the distant sky, thundering sounds rang out like earthquakes and sounded extremely frightening. Shi Yin raised his head to look into the sky. He could see that under the thick clouds, there was an imposing man with a face full of scars who was unyieldingly suspended in midair. By his side appeared 3 giant rivers of thick blood. The 3 blood rivers were each a few thousand meters long and a few hundred meters wide. They swiftly shifted in the air, showing anyone who saw it a scene they will never forget. The blood in these rivers was thick and filled with a wicked blood spirit. That man with the ferocious expression stood at the meeting point of the 3 rivers. As if controlling the rivers, his 2 hands twisted and the blood rivers moved at his will. From the looks of it, he was battling with 3 people. Those 1,000-meter long and 100-meter wide rivers were like 3 giant blood chains in his hands, driving the 3 people in the sky into difficult positions. Bai Mingshang, Zhou Zihe, and the mistress of the dark world all threw their sky realm power at the 3 blood rivers, continually defending against the intrusive attacks of the blood rivers. The man controlling the 3 terrifying blood rivers still had enough spare power to cast out slashes of blood light. The blood light fell into the swamps below, forcing Zhua Qi in the swamp to flee in panic, having no choice but to dive 1,000 meters deep into the swamp to hide. The man with the face full of scars was multitasking in 4 different ways. He fought with 4 Sky Realm Masters, Bai Mingshang, the Lord of the Dark World, the Mistress of the Dark World, and Zhua Qi at the same time. And he was still able to gain the upper hand, forcing the 4 Masters into awkward positions. Behind the man, giant bats, which were 7 to 8 meters in length, stared out with violent, bloodthirsty eyes. On the bats, many cold-faced warriors silently watched the movement above, as if preparing to cut in at any time. Who is this? Shur Yan's face was full of shock. This was the first time, after he arrived at Grace Mainland, he met such a frightening warrior. One of the 3 Shura kings of your Yang family, Xiao Han Yi, he has a capability of Sky Realm Second Sky. What he cultivates is the evil blood path of the 5 Shura path. Xia Xian Yan's expression was complicated. My Yang family? Shur Yan shook his head. I don't understand what you're talking about. You will soon understand. Xia Xian Yan said dismissively, and suddenly whistled towards the sky and shouted, Master Xiao, Shur Yan came out of the swamp. He's fine. You guys go down and protect young Master Shur. Xiao Han Yi deeply gazed at Shur Yan from the sky. Then a trace of pleasant surprise flashed across his eyes, and he commanded the Shura blood guards behind him. Just from his gaze, Shur Yan felt chills run down his spine. That man's eyes were like a godly weapon, which could pierce directly into people's souls. It gave him a dominating atmosphere, which was a frightening force of deterrence to others, making them feel, deep down, that they could not contend with him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The cyan bloodbats flew down from the sky and stopped by Shur Yan's side. The 50 Shura blood guards rode on the cyan bloodbats and surrounded Shur Yan. Young Master Yan. 50 ferocious roars simultaneously came from the warriors on top of the cyan bloodbats. 50 Earth or Nirvana realm warriors all looked at him with serious expressions. Shur Yan jumped in surprise. He looked at this parade of warriors with an astonished expression on his face. He had no idea how he suddenly became their young master. Miss Xiao, what is going on? Shur Yan was dazed for a moment and spoke in confusion. Later the Shura king will explain it to you. I'll say no more. Xia Xian Yan's pretty brows furrowed, and she spoke indifferently. Shur Yan, what I said to you before will be cast aside now. I'm sure the Yang family will lay out your future well. I'll stop meddling with it. She meant the thing about making Shur Yan enter the Xia family and employing him into the 3 Gods sect as a spy. Shur Yan became even more confused. He didn't know why Xia Xian Yan suddenly became so easy to negotiate with. Seeing that Xia Xian Yan didn't intend to explain, Shur Yan instinctively looked up at the scar-faced man in the sky. Hey! Just after one glance, Shur Yan couldn't help but exclaim. Up in the sky, Baiming Shang became an ice statue, his body wreathed with cold energy, and he quickly flew towards the south. Baiming Shang is actually running away. Once Baiming Shang left, there was an even greater pressure on the Lord and Mistress of the Dark World. The two didn't stay either, and also quickly flew to the south, afraid to keep fighting with that man. The Lord and Mistress of the Dark World felt a huge pressure, and they didn't dare to separate from Baiming Shang when running, scared that if they were to fall behind, they would be killed by that man. Hee, don't try to run. Xiao Han Yi's expression was as ferocious as a demon. He controlled the 3 terrifying blood rivers and immediately chased towards the 3. Hey! Qi Xiao exclaimed. He raised his head towards the sky and shouted, Baiming Shang. You could only see that the head of the Baiming family was now bleeding through his mouth and fleeted across the sky in panic. There was even a sign of fluster in his eyes. Behind him, the Lord and Mistress of the Dark World were also full of panic. They fled along, as if being chased by some horrifying monster. Mu Yu Dai and Dia Lan also gazed at the sky in astonishment. They were stunned inside. Not long after, the 2 girls saw the devil-like Xiao Han Yi charge forward, controlling 3 blood rivers. The 2 were lifeless, and all sorts of emotions stirred inside them. Dia Lan suddenly shouted in surprise. She saw Shur Yan seated on top of one of the cyan bloodbats. Chapter 110. You don't deserve that. Chapter 110. You don't deserve that. The cyan bloodbat had a length of about 8 meters and a broad back, so it was still spacious, even when there were 2 people sitting on top of it. Holding onto the cyan bloodbat's long, thin ears, Yin clenched his legs tightly on its neck, as the air blowing against him was like a strong gale. Looking down from up in the sky, the warriors in the dead swamp were as small as flies, and a sense of pride welled up in Yin. Riding a demon beast in the sky with the wind shuttle beside his ears, Yin loved the feeling of riding the cyan bloodbat. The Shura bloodguard on that cyan bloodbat noticed Yin's enjoyment. He smiled. If young Master Yin returned to the Yang family, you will have a better mount, and then the cyan bloodbat will mean nothing. A better mount? Yin's asked. What sort of mount? A mount that is worthy of you. Bigger and faster than the cyan bloodbat. It can also understand what you say, and will protect you. If the family head presents you with a twin-headed dragon, then please let me ride for a minute. Twin-headed dragons are all level 6 demon beasts, the same as Master Zhao's level 6 cyan bloodbat, but more capable than his. Twin-headed dragon? Level 6 demon beast? Don't they have power equal to that of a Nirvana realm warrior? Yin was shocked. In the dark forest, the dead swamp, and the cloud mountain, level 6 demon beasts were already masters, some with even more intelligence than some warriors. Every level 6 demon beast was untamable, and refuses to be any warrior's mount. However, the Yang family could make those demon beasts be mounts so easily, and even gifted them to experts. From this, Yin could imagine how powerful the Yang family was. Yes, twin-headed dragons can shoot ice and flames, making them equal to a Nirvana warrior with twin martial spirits. It can fly better than a warrior at the same realm. That warrior proudly smiled. In the endless sea, only a few powers can afford to give their descendants level 6 demon beasts, and we, of the Yang family, are one of those powers. Yin could presume how powerful the Yang family was. Bang, bang, bang. Blasts came from the sky, looking as if they were trying to crack the world into pieces. Yin was soon drawn towards it, and he turned his eyes from the cyan bloodbat to look towards the front. In front of them, the Shura king, Xiao Hani, stood in the sky like a devil, controlling the 3 broad blood rivers, and brutally assaulting Baiming Shang, lord of the dark world and the mistress of the dark world, causing them to flee. Inside the 3 blood rivers, overwhelming blood gas was flowing like 3 blood dragons. Baiming Shang was frozen and his body was surrounded by ice fire, moving in and out of one of the blood rivers, as he defended against the blood river with a rigid face. Blood light shot into the sky as thousands of magic snakes formed from the blood river and tried to entangle Baiming Shang. The blood snakes looked incredibly vivid as they waved their sharp, immortal claws. Once the blood snakes were frozen, due to Baiming Shang's ice fire, they fell into the blood river, and then quickly revived and jumped towards Baiming Shang again, this time with even more ferocity. The Lord of the Dark World, Zhou Zai, generated dark world thorns around his body and looked like a huge hedgehog. In the blood river, Zhou Zai kept producing dark world thorns to prevent the blood gas from the blood river from reaching him and tried to escape towards the south. The mistress of the dark world stayed in darkness, as she too was devoured by blood river. She struggled but couldn't get rid of it. Xiao Hani was like a devil from hell, and he got a pleasurable feeling from fighting with the 3. He even scorned lightly. Not working. Still not working. The warriors here are too weak. You could only be servants in the endless sea, and even there, you would not stand out. Baiming Shang went into a rage, but couldn't do anything. Only at that moment did they realize just how frightening the warriors from the endless sea were. They didn't know that, while fighting with them, Xiao Hani already pressured Zhuaqi to flee thousands meters into the swamp. Go! Suddenly, the voice of the mistress of the dark world came from the darkness. The next moment, from the darkness, a blast of strange power came. After a boom, that darkness broke down and a black shadow escaped toward the south. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Dark World, Zhou Zai, also began to trigger his skills and disappeared like a wisp of wind. Baiming Shang's expression suddenly shifted as he saw the 2 disappear, and he quickly tried to escape too. You have to stay. Shura King Xiao Hani showed a frightening expression on his scarred face. The other 2 blood rivers suddenly moved crazily and merged into the first river. The three blood rivers joined into an endless sea. In the blood sea, Bai Mingxiang's body was drowning, and he couldn't make a move. He bellowed desperately. Humph! Xiao Hani looked down on him coldly, and then laughed cunningly. You want to kill the descendant of the Yang family? I will kill you first. Xiao Hani turned into a bloody light, and then flew out of the blood sea, disappearing into blood gas. From the blood sea came Bai Mingxiang's miserable cries, as he couldn't fight back anymore. Shi Yin was secretly delighted, but he smiled coldly. Bai Mingxiang is finished. That guy is merely at the first sky of the sky realm, so he can't fight against Master Xiao. Once the three blood rivers combined, even a sky warrior at the second sky could be killed. That warrior confirmed in despise. He is dead meat. Let's go down. I saw some friends. Shi Yin moved his head to look down and spoke to that warrior. Sure. That guy nodded happily and patted the cyan bloodbat's head back. The cyan bloodbat cried and dashed down quickly to land beside the group, including Qi Xiao and Zhuo Shi. Having the mission to protect Shi Yin, those Shura blood guards also flew down and encircled Shi Yin. Shi Yin got off the cyan bloodbat and smiled to Zhuo Shi. Why are you still here? We are just on our way home. Zhuo Shi pouted, while looking at the Yang family warrior beside Shi Yin in awe, and said in a low voice, Shi Yin, who are they? From her teacher, Qi Xiao, Zhuo Shi had already learned of the abilities of the Shura blood guards, yet Xiao Hani's behavior in the sky still astonished her. Therefore, standing in front of the Shura blood guard of the Yang family from the endless sea, even Zhuo Shi was anxious. I don't know either. Shi Yin shook his head and felt confused. But they won't do bad things to me. Hee. Bang! Just then, a frightening explosion came from the sky. In the middle of the blood sea, Bai Mingxiang's body exploded while his head and limbs fell to the ground. The blood sea started to disappear. The hideous-looking Shura king, Xiao Hani, fell from the sky to Shi Yan's side, with a bloody jade bottle in his hand. Inside the bottle, Bai Mingxiang's spirit was struggling in hatred. Young Master Yin. Xiao Hani walked up to Shi Yin, the smell of blood wafting from his body, and smiled. I didn't prepare any gifts for our first meeting, but this guy is at the first sky of the sky realm. When we get back to the Yang family, I will refine a weapon with his spirit as a gift for you. Well, Shi Yin scratched his head and smiled bitterly. I don't know who you are, but it's already a big gift that you killed Bai Mingxiang. It's not big enough. Xiao Hani shook his head and said rigidly, Young Master Yin will be the hope of the Yang family. I have to be good to you before you go back to the Yang family in the Endless Sea, or you will forget me, Mu Yu Dai and Di Yalan stared at the jade bottle in Xiao Hani's hand and went blank seeing Bai Mingxiang's struggling spirit. Master, who on earth is Shi Yin? Qi Xiao asked after a short silence. Xiao Hani frowned and took a glance at Qi Xiao coldly. None of your business. Qi Xiao smiled embarrassingly and stopped asking before he looked at Shi Yin in surprise. Young Master Yin, let's find a better place for talking, Xiao Hani suddenly suggested. Before Shi Yin was about to nod, he saw Mu Yu Dai running toward him in haste. What? Shi Yin turned gloomy and looked at her impatiently. What do you want now? Shi Yin, I want to be your woman. Mu Yu Dai bit her lips and pretended to be cool, but said in blush, you are fond of women. I think I'm not that bad looking. I can do anything for you, and I will learn to do anything that I can't. I promise, I will make you happy. As long as you get revenge for me. I don't need you. Shi Yin shook his head. Mu Yu Dai's thin body quivered, and her face turned pale, with her lips bleeding. Bearing such huge humiliation, Mu Yu Dai still continued to plead, to be your concubine is okay. I swear I will make you happy. You don't deserve that. Chapter 111, Immortal Pills. Chapter 111, Immortal Pills. The cyan bloodbat carried Shi Yin and flew to the east of the dead swamp. Soon, they landed in the woods where Xia Xinyan was. This time, Shi Yin sat on Xiao Hani's cyan bloodbat. This cyan bloodbat had crimson eyes and sharp claws. Its wings were flared out, giving it a menacing dominance. Just as Xiaohani, the cyan blood bat emitted a bloody smell, as it had eaten numerous warriors. Xiaohani wanted to talk to Shi Yin, and Shi Yin didn't want to talk to Mu Yu Dai, so he refused her and climbed onto the cyan blood bat, without taking any further looks at that snobbish woman. The cyan blood bat landed slowly and stopped in front of Xia Xian Yin. Xiaohani walked up and said lightly, "Little Xia, it's all finished here. I can give you a ride if you are going back to the Endless Sea." Xia Xian Yin smiled elegantly. "Thank you, Uncle Xiao." Xiaohani nodded, as he walked aside with Shi Yin, and looked directly into his eyes. "Young Master Yin, could I check your body?" Shi Yin was confused and didn't want to wait. "Sure." Xiaohani reached out his red hand and put it on Shi Yan's shoulder. Then a stream of dense, profound qi went into Shi Yan's body. That agile, profound qi moved all around Shi Yan's meridians. After that, Xiaohani finally nodded joyfully. "Well, it seems you did inherit the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family." Immortal martial spirit? Shi Yin was a little shocked, but after spending a few short moments thinking, he realized why these experts from the Endless Sea came here. "Young Master Yin, could you cut your arm? I want to see what stage your immortal martial spirit is at." Xiaohani hesitated, and then asked. "Okay." Shi Yin didn't feel uncomfortable at all, and he took out a dagger from his bag and made a small cut on his left arm. While cutting, Shi Yin looked calm, as if he wasn't mutilating his own flesh. Xiaohani was observing him carefully. Seeing Shi Yin's boldness, Xiaohani believed Ku Luo's opinion of Shi Yin, that he was a strong-minded one. He, who was brutal to himself, would also be brutal to others. Xiaohani truly believed that, in order to become a powerhouse in this world, one needed to be brutal. Though the Yang family was influential in the Endless Sea, it still had many adversaries. Those demons in the fourth demon area hated the Yang family so much that they would do anything to hurt the Yang family. If Shi Yin was not decisive enough, he may lose his life in the Endless Sea someday. Xiaohani asked Shi Yin to cut himself, as he wanted to test his disposition too. Seeing Shi Yin's ruthlessness to himself, Xiaohani realized that it would be easy to train Shi Yin, so he was very pleased. The wound began to twist like a worm, while the flesh joined with itself. Xiaohani's eyes sparkled. Right in front of him, Shi Yin's wound healed little by little. In merely 10 minutes, the wound completely recovered, without a scar. "Fantastic! Fantastic! Fantastic!" Xiaohani repeated the word in excitement. "Without immortal pills, you have already reached the second stage of the immortal martial spirit as a human warrior. Fantastic! Brilliant! Young Master Yin, you are such a genius. It was worth of my journey here." The second stage of the immortal martial spirit? Shi Yin was surprised, and he smiled. "Good. I felt my immortal martial spirit had changed when I was in that odd space. So it turns out that it advanced to the second stage." Young Master Yin, the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family doesn't advance with mere training. It also needs blood. Young Master Yin must have met formidable adversaries in the fake gate and gotten hurt, so your immortal martial spirit advanced. Xiaohani didn't get into the fake gate of heaven, but he knew everything that happened to Shi Yin in there. "Right." Shi Yin nodded. "Young Master Yin, now I will explain the Yang family to you." The family head went to. Xiaohani told the story about Yang Hai and King Yang Qing in details and sighed. "Young Master Hai is middle-aged and unable to fight for the family in the Endless Sea. What a pity. It's good to have you, Young Master Yin. I came all the way to take Young Master Hai back to the Endless Sea, but I can't push him when he refused. What do you think, Young Master Yin?" Xiaohani's eyes were shining. Before Shi Yin replied, he continued, "Young Master Yin, with your temper and talent, you could be a pillar of the family and a legend in the Endless Sea. The Merchant Union is too small of a place for you, and the Shi family can't give you a bright future. Young Master Yin, the vast Endless Sea is so mysterious. It contains god domains, exotic women, and many different experts. That's where you belong, Young Master Yin." To attract Shi Yin to the Endless Sea, Xiaohani kept depicting the various fascinating things in the Endless Sea, in the hope that Shi Yin go to the Endless Sea to adventure. "Sure, I will go with you." Before Xiaohani could finish his speech, Shi Yin interrupted. I love challenges. The more dangerous, the more captivating. I will go to the endless sea anyway. The earlier, the better. Shi Yin was a fanatic for adventures. He wanted the Shi family for a chance to develop himself. However, he was not the real Shi Yin of the Shi family, so he never regarded it as his home. Before such a great chance, Shi Yin seized it without any hesitation. To him, the endless sea was much more attractive than the merchant union. Great, great. Xiaohani bursted into laughters. He thought he would have to make a long speech, but was not expecting that Shi Yin would accept so fast. Shi Yin was only 17, but already reached the second sky of human realm, had twin martial spirits, great talent, and a cool personality. No matter how anyone looked at it, Shi Yin was far more suitable than Yang Hai, due to the cruelty in the endless sea. Xiaohani will complete his mission if he takes Shi Yin back to the endless sea. Young Master Yin, here's an immortal pill made by the family head, which is one of the 7 famous medicines in the endless sea. It can clean your meridians and your whole body. The immortal pills are spirit-level medicine, and sometimes can make a commoner into a warrior by triggering his martial spirit. Once you take it, your meridians will expand and your immortal martial spirit will develop more. Since you've reached the second stage of the immortal martial spirit, you can't advance much though. But it would benefit you a lot, so take it now. Xiaohani smiled, took out a jade box and opened it, inside which was a pill. That pill was shining with beautiful colors, and from the small holes on it, wisps of pleasing and refreshing scents wafted out. This immortal pill is very strong, and may torture you for days, but it does not harm your body. Young Master Yin, take it and I will protect you here. No one would dare interrupt you in the dead swamp. Xiaohani handed the pill to him with a serious face. Shi Yin nodded, and picked up the pill in astonishment. Bum-bum, bum-bum, bum-bum. As he held the pill in his hand, he felt the beats from an infant's heart, and the holes were producing a pleasing smell. A spirit-level pill. Shi Yin was a bit intoxicated by the pill, as he now knew more about the Yang family, so he got much hope for his trip to the endless sea. Young Master Yin, the magical properties of the pill will dissipate 3 days after leaving the box. Seeing Shi Yin was calmly observing, Xiaohani quickly explained. Spirit-level pills, so valuable, hee. Somehow, I feel a bit of regret from taking this. Shi Yin smiled with pride, and then consumed it. With your personality, young Master Yin, once you enter the endless sea, you will have endless women and treasures. At that moment, young Master Yin won't be surprised by this pill anymore. Young Master Yin, sit down and have a good rest. I will protect you. Xiaohani spoke softly, smiling. He was hard on others, but very considerate when facing a member from the Yang family. Got it. Shi Yan's expression shifted as he felt a burning sensation in his stomach. Without any further considerations, he sat down, cross-legged, and tried to digest this spirit-level pill from the endless sea. At that moment, her exquisite mind had guessed Xiaohani's intention and knew what kind of thoughts were going through Xiaohani's mind. Xia Xian was also very curious, and she wondered if Shi Yin could really bear through it, or if he would suddenly open his eyes and pass out. The 7 most wonderful elixirs of the endless sea each had their own individual effects. The immortal pill of the Yang family was known for its violent and fierce medicinal effects. The extreme pain accompanied with the process of taking the pill was also very well known. She felt that Shi Yin wouldn't be able to hold it, and that he would soon be overwhelmed by the pain in his body. Having that thought in her mind, Xia Xian couldn't help but silently move towards him. Xiaohani's brows furrowed. He looked back and glanced at Xia Xian and motioned for her to keep silent. Nodding her head, Xia Xian signaled that she understood. She kept silent and paced towards Shi Yan's side, quietly watching Shi Yin. A day quickly passed. At this point, Shi Yan's body was all red, mist covered his whole body, and his expression was contorted, as if he was holding in a great amount of pain. 2 days had passed. Shi Yan's body was trembled slightly, and the amount mist around his body had increased. but his eyes were still tightly shut, and he unyieldingly battled against the fierce medicine in his body. 3 days had passed. The mist around Shi Yan's body had started to take on a darker color. On this day, the sweat on Shi Yan's body also started becoming dark brown. Xiao Hanyi's expression became more serious, and there was even some surprise in his eyes. Xia Xian Yin was also secretly amazed. She was shocked by Shi Yan's perseverance and knew that, this time, the Yang family had caught themselves a treasure. It had always been rare for there to be a child of the Yang family that could take the immortal pill at the human realm and silently persist for 3 days. Those that manage this feat all generally become famous and domineering individuals in the future. The 4th day came. On this day, Shi Yan's body was visibly shaking. The sweat on his body made his clothes wet, and he looked like he was completely soaked in water. The sweat on his body was no longer of a muddy color, but was now jet black and accompanied by a horrible stench, which continued to become stronger. On this day, the surprise on Xiao Han Yi and Xia Xian Yan's faces became very obvious. Those Shura blood guards watching on the side were also amazed, and their faces were tinged with awe. These Earthrealm and Nirvana Realm warriors were almost completely sure that Shi Yan would become a central pillar of the Yang family. His potential was limitless. Shi Yan still made no sound, but his teeth were tightly clenched, and his body kept shaking. His body was like a red-hot iron, and the heat he gave off was astounding. 4 days, 4 whole days, and Shi Yan hadn't even made a single pained moan. The children of the Yang family, even the tough-minded men, would scream in piercing pain when they took the immortal pill without taking an ice pill. Moreover, there would be people rolling on the ground, pointlessly attempting to negate some of the pain in their bodies. But Shi Yan was steady as a mountain. He sat still like a 1,000-year-old stone. At the end of the 5th day, Shi Yan suddenly howled loudly. He stood up, and the mists around his body rippled like waves. "Young Master Yin," Xiao Hani shouted with a deep voice. He said urgently, "Can you still bear it?" Opening his eyes, Shi Yan's eyes were as red as blood. He clenched his teeth and smiled widely. "Awesome." "Oh, awesome." Xiao Hani's expression froze as he stared at Shi Yan in daze. "Isn't it painful?" "Painful?" Shi Yan shook his head. The redness on his face slowly disappeared. He smiled. "The pain has passed away, and now I'm in the 3rd sky of the human realm. This immortal pill sure is forceful. I almost couldn't hold back a scream. Now the pill has spread through my entire body, and the fiery raging power is slowly disappearing." The 3rd sky of the human realm. The Yang family warriors all yelled out, their faces full of astonishment. 17 years old, human realm 3rd sky. Even for those who grew up in the Yang family and the central disciples, who have consumed countless elixirs, could rarely break into the 3rd sky of the human realm at 17 years old. Shi Yan had always been in the merchant union, without the assistance of the powerful resources of the Yang family, but he had stepped into the 3rd sky of the human realm at 17 years old. Such talent, such cultivation speed. It was utterly too good to be true. Xiao Hanyi's eyes glimmered with light. He took a deep breath and said in a deep tone, "Young Master Yin, it seems that I've underestimated you." Absorbing all of the immortal pill's power within 5 days of time, without any external help, is extremely shocking. If the head of the family knew about your performance just now, he'd be very pleasantly surprised. If young Master Yin returns to the family right now, you might just be immediately rewarded an island and a level 6 demon beast, the twin-headed dragon. An island? Level 6 demon beast, the twin-headed dragon? Shi Yin was stunned. How big is the island? Bigger than Tianyun City. Young Master Yin would be able to do whatever he wants with it. Hee, don't be too surprised, young Master Yin. Wait till you return to the family, then you'll know how wealthy and powerful the family is. Our family now controls almost 1,000 islands, some of which are even bigger than the entire merchant union. At that time, young Master Shura will know how insignificant the merchant union is. Xiao Hani said proudly. I'm looking forward to it. Shi Yin nodded, his face full of joy. Young Master Yin, May we go to the endless sea now? Xiaohani pondered for a second and said, Young Master Hai does not wish to return, and there is no need to go to Tianyun City. We should just leave now. Right now the fourth demon area is ready to make trouble, and I shouldn't stay out for long. The sooner we go back, the sooner we'll be able to contribute a little more power to the family. Young Master Yin, you also need to be tested by the family and cultivate the immortal rebirth creed, so you can quickly become a pillar of the family. It's not good to leave without saying goodbye. We should still go back to Tianyun City. Now Tianyun City must be a mess, and the Mo, Ling, and Baiming families might go against the Shur family. Before I leave from here, I want the Shur family to have no enemies in Tianyun City. Shur Yin frowned and pondered for a while, and then spoke in a serious voice. Although he wasn't really a Shur family member, Shur Jian, Hanzhong, and Yang Hai have treated him well. Now that the Shur family is facing troubles, he couldn't just leave them high and dry. Xiaohani's group had the power to sweep away all of the 5 families of Tianyun City. With this power, the Shur family could destroy all obstacles in the way and become the true leaders of the merchant union. He felt like he should do something for the Shur family, or else he would always feel guilty inside. Favors must be paid and grudges must be settled. This had always been his rule. Young Master Yin is an affectionate man. Xiaohani nodded and said, Then we will go back to Tianyun City. Uncle Xiao. Xiaoxian Yin suddenly spoke up. All right, you can come along too. We won't stay in Tianyun City for long. Once the business is settled, we'll immediately go back to the endless sea. How's that? Xiaohani said. Xiaoxian Yin nodded. Yes, I'll go along with Uncle Zhao's arrangements. While talking, Xiaoxian Yin looked deeply at Shur Yin. She hesitated for a moment, then said, Uncle Xiao, Shur Yin still has the star martial spirit of the 3 gods sect on him. Don't forget. This will be handled by the head of the family. Xiao Han grinned. The 3 gods sect has always been in conflict with the Yang family. If they knew that Shur Yin got the star martial spirit of Ouyangji, I wonder what their faces would look like. Haha, young Master Yin truly has the best fortune. He even obtained the original seal of the martial spirit. This time, the head of the family will laugh until his mouth is crooked. Let's go. Without further ado, Shur Yin took the lead and walked towards the level 6 Cyan Bloodbat. Lately, even the heavily injured Mo2 had begun to occasionally show up in Tianyun City. The injuries on his body seemed to have been almost healed, and he indicated on many occasions that he was going to fight to the death with the Shur family. In the following battles, because of the strong aid from the poisonous Dragon Valley, the Shur family repeatedly suffered many losses and lost many strong warriors. These few days, the Ling family has also been ready to make trouble, as if they made an agreement with the Mo family and the poisonous Dragon Valley. They wanted to take this opportunity and beat the Shur family for their arrogance. From the few recent fights outside the city, the Shur family suffered great loss when they lost 3 Disaster Realm warriors and an Earth Realm warrior. Father, the visitors from the poisonous Dragon Valley have been staying with the Mo family. Today I got news that among the visitors from the poisonous Dragon Valley, there might even be the Valley Master. Poisonous Bubo is not only an alchemist, he's also at the first sky of the Sky Realm. The power of his poisons is no trivial matter. God knows what the Mo family offered them, that they actually managed to invite poisonous Bubo. This time we're really in a lot of trouble. Shur Dang's expression was not pretty. He deeped his tone and said, Imo Chao Gu, Imo Chao Tian were killed. Imo Zhan and Imo Qi are also dead. This time Imo Tua has really gone crazy, or else he wouldn't have invited poisonous Bubo from the poisonous Dragon Valley to come. That Bubo is a dubious man. This time Imo Tua has invited serious trouble. The poisonous Bubo. Shur Tai exclaimed. His face suddenly became grim. He clenched his teeth and said, Imo Tu really has gone crazy. That Bubo is an ambitious man who has always wanted to come and cause trouble in the merchant union. In the past, he's always had Baiming Shang on top of him, so he wouldn't try to make trouble. Now that Imo Tua invited him first, he has a legitimate reason to be here. I'm afraid this time the Mo family is going to be taken over by the poisonous Dragon Valley. Shur Tai's face turned green, but he stayed silent. Big brother, the poisonous Bubo has a set of poisonous abilities. It is said that he eats all sorts of poisons every day to strengthen his power. Any normal man who approaches him would rot to death. He's definitely one of the most frighteningly evil men in the world. Shura took in a deep breath and spoke angrily. How could Bai Ming Shang turn a blind eye on this? If this Bubo really controlled the Mo family, then he would become a great threat to the Bai Ming family too. I don't know what Bai Ming Shang is thinking. It seems that Bai Ming Shang is not in the merchant union right now. Shi Jian stayed silent for a moment, then he clenched his teeth and said, Han Feng sent the news last time. He said Bai Ming Shang most likely went to the dead swamp. Lately Bai Ming Shang proclaimed to outsiders that he is closed-door cultivating, and he won't be dealing with any incidents in the merchant union. Even with the poisonous Bubo here, he still didn't appear. There's definitely something wrong. He went to the dead swamp? Shi Dang's face changed. That kid Shi Yin is also there. If Bai Ming Shang went there, wouldn't Shi Yin be in danger? Shaking his head, Shi Jian said, most likely not. Qi Xiao and that girl from the Misty Pavilion are both there. Even if Bai Ming Shang went there, he wouldn't dare to cause trouble. Master! Master! At this moment, a cry came from outside. Han Zhong sprinted his way here and said urgently, Master! Master Hai has been heavily wounded by someone. His injuries are very serious. What? Shi Jian's expression turned cold. His eyes were almost about to spout out flames. He said furiously, Yang Hai has never cultivated in any martial art. He's not a warrior at all. This is known by all of the merchant union. The Mo family would even dare to attack Yang Hai. They've really thrown away all rules. If something happens to Yang Hai, I will fight to the death with Mo Tua. After Shi Jian roared, he hurriedly followed Han Zhong out and urgently rushed towards where Yang Hai was lying down. In a room filled with smell of medicine and blood, Yang Hai was lying on the bed with his body covered with blood. 3 physicians from the Shi family bustled with the different bottles and jars, constantly pouring different medicines into Yang Hai's blood-filled mouth. Their expressions were serious. Yang Hai's hand and feet bones were all fractured, and his chest was covered with deep sword cuts. He was unconscious. Together, 3 disaster realm warriors of the Shi family knelt down on the ground. They were also covered by blood. With a serious expression, they all clenched their teeth. Wang Wei, who did it? Shi Jian's expression was frighteningly grim. While his eyes turned red, he took in a deep breath and said with a low voice, The Ling family and the Mo family. The disaster realm warrior named Wang Wei, who was kneeling on the ground, had a face full of anger. We were accompanying Master Hai to transfer medicine to the West Pharmacy, and then we were attacked in an alley. Other than the Mo family warriors, the attackers also included people from the Ling family. That young Master Ling Xiaofeng from the Ling family was also there. Ling Xiaofeng. Shi Jian's eyes were bursting with murderous thoughts. That little bastard wants to die. How dare he attack Yang Hai? I will finish him off. Father, Ling Xiaofeng has always wanted to marry Mo Yinyu. Recently I heard that the Mo family gave a condition, saying that as long as they kill 2 direct descendants of the Shi family, the Mo family will marry Mo Yinyu to Ling Xiaofeng. That kid is crazy about Mo Yinyu. Lately he's been strolling around with the Ling family's warriors, as if trying to find an opportunity to attack. But the direct descendant warriors of our family have also been very careful and have never left the family, so that kid never got the chance. But, because Master Hai is not a warrior, he had to go out and take care of many matters for the family. I didn't think that Ling Xiaofeng was so crazy that he would even attack Master Hai, who has never cultivated in any martial arts. Shi Dang clenched his teeth. Yang Hai's sister, Shi Qing, was also Shi Dang's sister, which was why his relationship with Yang Hai was very close. All these years, Yang Hai worked with all his dedication for the Shi family. Shi Dang clearly knew this, and had treated Yang Hai as his true brother. Now that Yang Hai was heavily injured, Shi Dang was also furious. He was irritated enough to kill someone. Big brother, Hai is badly hurt. The Ling family really wants him dead. Shi Tai clenched his teeth. The Ling family is already going against the rules by doing this. Big brother, If we don't go and punish the Ling family, they'd really think we're easy to bully. Father, you go take a visit to the Zhou family personally. We really need to talk over this thoroughly. Shi Jian breathed in and advised him, bring more people. Be careful along the way. Humph. Shi Tai's expression turned cold. The people from the Ling and Imo family don't have the guts to attack me yet. If they really dared to come, I don't mind killing them all. Anyway, be careful. Shi Jian advised him again. Father, will Hai be okay? Shi Dang asked worriedly. Shi Jian looked deeply at young Hai and sighed. Don't worry, if any other ordinary person got injured this bad, they would be dead for sure. But Hai is special, and he still has some life left in him, so he will definitely recover. They dared to attack Hai, that means they fear nothing now. We need to be ready as soon as possible. Yes. In a remote alley between the Shi and Zhou families, there was a very secretive garden. The garden had long been unoccupied, so weeds grew all around, and spider webs were everywhere. However, today, in this garden, many figures appeared. Occasionally quiet voices came from one of the wooden cabins. Master Bubo, today the Shi family will definitely send powerful warriors to the Zhou family. Now that the Shi family is starting to be afraid about attacks, it is important that they talk with Zhusu of the Suas. This time, it's very likely that Shi Tai will go personally. At that time, I would hope you could lend a hand and poison that Shi Tai first. Then we could easily kill him. Imo Tuo's voice came faintly. The reason why I came from the poisonous Dragon Valley was to help the Imo family. My disciple, Xie Shou, was killed. This grudge has to be settled with the Shi family. A dark and chilly voice responded. Brother Imo Tuo, if I help you to kill Shi Tai this time, that girl of yours has to marry into our family. Hee, that kid Xiaofeng has been longing for your family's girl for a long time. You can't get away with this any longer. That kid can't wait anymore. See, he even took care of young Hai for you. How's that? Once Shi Tai dies, the marriage between Yin Yu and Xiaofeng will be immediately held. All right, I was waiting for that. Chapter 114, Shi Tai's Death. Chapter 114, Shi Tai's Death. With a gloomy face, Shi Tai was walking through Tianyun City with 7 Shi family escorts. From the Shi family to the Zhou family, almost every street was a commercial street. The crowd made way for them when they saw horses from the Shi family. Shi Tai sat rigidly on his horse, pondering on how to talk with Zhusu about the Ling family. After a while, the troops, including Shi Tai, reached a quiet street. This street was in between the Shi family and the Zhou family. Though not crowded, there were usually vendors present. But today, the street was completely quiet, and not a single vendor was seen. Shi Tai didn't think much about that because recently Tianyun City was chaotic, so citizens rarely wander through quiet streets. The troop was moving at a fast pace, and so they quickly reached the midpoint of the quiet street. Shi Tai's expression turned serious. Boom! A stone wall on the side of the street suddenly exploded. One after another, huge rocks flew into the air and then fell toward Shi Tai. Meanwhile, several shadowed came down a side street and hurtled toward Shi Tai, like eagles swooping down on their prey. Broad, long lightning zipped toward Shi Tai. The space was sealed as a huge net covered the entire block and sealed it from all directions. Shi Tai bellowed, Imo Tu, Lingju. Dragon-like lightning, together with a net, blocked the street, and everything quieted down at once. Bang, bang, bang. Shi Tai's body hardened as he used his petrification martial spirit and pushed his nirvana energy to the max. Light shot out from his body and smashed the rocks which were flung towards him. Bang, bang, bang. On the sides of the street, the remaining stone walls exploded, one by one, and more rocks flew toward Shi Tai, like a wave of hills. Wisps of light purple smoke came from the blast and floated around Shi Tai. Though angry, Shi Tai held his breath. Bubo, we, of the Shi family, will never stop fighting you. Your Shi family is too weak, and you will die soon. Bubo's cold voice came, like a poisonous snake, full of despise. Wisps of smoke pervaded and covered Shi Tai and his troops. Excluding Shur, all the other members of the Shur family group were at the disaster or Earth realm. Although they all had held their breath, they couldn't defend against the purple smoke, and their skin turned purple and they were greatly tortured, feeling as if millions of insects were nibbling at their bodies. Screaming miserably, those Shur family escorts fell to ground, and their bodies began to rot away. After petrification, Shur, in the poisonous purple smoke, turned purple as well, feeling pain all over his body. Humph! You, being at the Nirvana realm, are such a fool to go against my poisonous rotting smoke. Bubo's cunning voice came from the top of one of the buildings along the street. Papa. The electric dragons produced by Immortal struck on Shur endlessly. Meanwhile, the net produced by Ling Ju wrapped around Shur. The experts from the Mo family and the Ling family rushed in and encircled Shur. Numerous sharp weapons shone and were shot at Shur like raindrops. Shur was turned into a pincushion, and, due to the poison, his petrification spirit couldn't defend against them. Kill. Immortal finally showed up. He raised a silver hammer, which was covered with lightning, and slammed it down on Shur. Kaka. Every bone in Shur body broke, and he was bleeding profusely. Boom. With a hideous face, Shur strong body fell to the ground and quickly rotted away. Ling Ju walked out from a tree shelter and coldly looked at the rotten body. Well, Shur Jian lost an arm, and Shur is dead. It will now be much easier to attack the Shur family. Immortal looked delightful, and he, again, struck Shur skull with his hammer. I will bury the Shur family with my grandson. Shur death is just the beginning. Immortal looked ferocious. Brother Immo, I think we should first arrange our children's wedding. While the Shur family will be making funeral arrangements, we will be having a wedding. Isn't it interesting? Ling Ju came up with an idea. Good. Immortal burst out laughing. Come here, pack Shur bones, and send them to the Shur family. It's my gift for them. Wish the members of the Shur family a long life. Ha. Yes, sir. At the dead swamp, Shur Yin sat on the cyan bloodbat with Shura King Xiaohani, who had an uncaring expression on his face. They were training. When Shura King Xiaohani trained evil blood path, he could influence the blood of the people around him. Sitting beside him, Shur Yin felt disturbed, and his blood was out of control, trying to gush out of his body. Xiaohani, as if sensing Shur Yin's abnormality, suddenly opened his eyes, smiling. Young Master Yin, my evil blood path can influence other people's blood, so you have to be careful while sitting near me. Hee. If young Master Yin doesn't like it, you can change to another cyan bloodbat, all right? While talking, Xiaohani secretly glanced at the cyan bloodbat, on which Xia Xinyan was sitting quietly. Xia Xinyan was still wearing a veil, and her clear eyes were looking absent-mindedly off into the distance. Her thin hands pressed on a bone on the back of the cyan bloodbat, while her slim body showed perfect curves. She was truly captivating. Following Xiaohani's eyes, Shur Yin gave Xia Xinyan an appreciative look, and his mouth quick to the side. Old Xiao, is this woman highly sought after in the Endless Sea? For the past few days, Shur Yin had accompanied Xiaohani. Shur Yin was a casual man. Even when sitting with an expert at the second sky of the Sky Realm, he didn't show any respect and still talked openly. Xiaohani was used to battles everywhere, so he was an untamable person. He was fond of Shur Yin's boldness, so he also talked casually to Shur Yin. Of course, Xiaohani showed a meaningful expression. This girl is a top-class beauty in the Endless Sea. Every man is dreaming of her. However, she is always cold towards them. Young Master Yin, if you nail her, even the family head will be surprised. Hee. Shur Yin just smiled reservedly. Old and young, both brutes. Xia Xinyan seemed to know what they were talking about, as her white neck turned, and her bright eyes were filled with disdain. Ha, little Xia, you hear that? Xiaohani was also thick-skinned. As he giggled, little Xia, our young Master Yin is great. Though his realm is rather low now, he will have a great future. As soon as we return the Endless Sea, he will train with the immortal rebirth creed of the Yang family, and will advance rapidly. A marriage between the Xia family and Yang family would truly be fantastic. What do you think, young Master Yin? Haha. Shi Yin looked indifferent, but secretly cursed that Xiao Hani said such impolite thing. Xia Xine Yin glanced at Shi Yin coldly. Although he is very talented, his realm is too low for the time being, and it's not certain whether, one day, he could advance this far or not. Humph. He wants to marry me? He has to wait till the day he can beat me. Shi Yin touched his nose. Not angry at all. Beautiful Xin Yan, you said it. Don't worry, I will beat you sooner or later. Just wait. Beautiful Xin Yan? Xia Xine Yin was dumbstruck, and she shook her head with an embarrassed expression. Well, you do belong to the Yang family line, so you are as shameless and arrogant as them. Hee. Shi Yin was shameless and not embarrassed at all. It's a deal. One day I beat you, you will? Till that day. Before Shi Yin could finish, Xia Xine Yin interrupted him. However, I don't think I will see that day. Humph, you are developing. I'm developing too. When you have reached the disaster realm, you won't advance as fast as you are now. I wonder if you will still be so arrogant then. Don't worry, Xine Yin. I won't keep you waiting. Shi Yin kept calling her Xin Yan, as if he had grown up with her. Xia Xine Yin had such a gorgeous face, bright brain, and perfect figure. How could Shi Yin ignore that? It was because he was out of her league before. But now, Shi Yin seemed to have some hope. Xia Xine Yin was uncomfortable hearing him call her Xin Yan, as she stared at him once, and then patted her cyan bloodbat softly. That cyan bloodbat slowed down and maintained a long distance from Shi Yin. Shi Yin didn't mind that and turned back to watch her with obvious lust and desire. Good boy. Xiao Hani praised and said in a low voice, to nail this woman is beneficial to our family. I'll support you in your conquest. Think about it. Take it easy. Easy. Shi Yin beamed with sparkling eyes. Even Xiao Hani does not know what he was thinking about. Chapter 115. Kill Everything. Chapter 115. Kill Everything. Sponsored by Ron Sarmiento. At dusk. The sky was dull, with heavy dark clouds, as if a storm was about to come, dreary and depressing. Cyan bloodbats were flying in the sky in a line, and slowly descended upon Tianyun City. 10 minutes later, the cyan bloodbat arrived at the Shi family's residence. There were white cloth rags hanging everywhere in the residence, and the air was filled with a dismal and gloomy feeling. All members of the Shi family were in agony, as wailing sounds could be heard coming from many rooms. Sitting on the cyan bloodbat, Shi Yan's expression turned cloudy. After glancing down, he realized that they were holding a funeral. According to the ritual, it must be someone important. In the spacious land of the Shi family, all the family members were wearing uniforms and drowning in sorrow. Shi Tai's descendants all looked mournful. The cyan bloodbat landed in the yard, which drew their attention, and they walked out to watch. Shi Yin walked directly to Shi Jian, with Xiao Hani, and asked, Grandpa, what happened? Young Master Yin, the second lord is dead, and your father is badly hurt too. He still hasn't woken up. Han Zhong clenched his teeth and said in agony, the Ling family and the Mo family did this. What? Shi Yin looked hideous. He took a deep breath and asked Shi Jian, Grandpa, what happened? Shi Jian's eyes turned red, then he glanced at Xiao Hani and quickly told him the whole thing. The Ling family, the Mo family. Shi Yin growled, blood debts must be paid with blood. Zhusu was standing aside as well, and he looked at Xiao Hani and asked softly, Kid, who is he? Family head. Family head. At that moment, cries came from outside. A Shi family warrior walked in, filled with anger, and said, the Ling and Mo families have sent a wedding invitation. They say Xiaofeng and Mo Yinyu are having a wedding today, and they wish for the family head to attend. A wedding invitation? Shi Jian was deeply irritated. I'm gonna destroy them. Uncle Xiao, I want these two families turned into a river of blood, and the wedding to be a funeral. Shi Yin turned back and licked his lips with a hideous face. That will be a piece of cake. Xiao Hani smiled. Tonight, Let the Tianyun city be a Shura slaughterhouse. First the Ling family, then the Imo family, and finally the Biming family, all will die. Zhuasu gazed at Xiaohani in surprise. Grandpa, get up onto the cyan bloodbat. Let's go to the Ling family right now. Their experts must all be there tonight. We can finish them off all at once. Shi Yin said in a rigid tone. They are. Shi Jin stared at Xiaohani in wonder. Friends, Shi Yin explained casually, then he mounted Xiaohani's cyan bloodbat and urged, members above human realm, find a position on the cyan bloodbats. Let's kill the 3 families today. Those people in the Shi family were shocked at first, then their spirit was lit up as they walked to the cyan bloodbats. Shura Bloodguard, control the cyan bloodbats, take care of them, Xiaohani ordered softly, and smiled at Shi Jin. Shi family head, I guess young Master Hai had told you who I am. You raised him as your own son, so you are a member of the Yang family too. We will help you at all expense. Shi Jin's body quivered as he yelled, thanks. Up to the demon beasts. Go to the Ling family. Shi Yin shouted, they must pay for it. I will let the 3 families pay for my second grandpa's death. All the Shi family experts mounted the demon beasts after Shi Jin's order. Zhuasu hesitated, but he too climbed onto the cyan bloodbat with his experts from the Zhua family. Huh. The cyan bloodbats shot into the sky carrying those angry men straight towards the Ling family. In the Ling family, Ling Ju was chatting with Imo Tuo and Bu Bo happily in his living room. Ling Xiaofeng was so proud that he was toasting to the Imo family and laughed loudly every now and then. It's his wedding day today, and his dream of having Imo Yinyu finally came true. Brother Imo, can you guess how Shi Jin will look when he gets our invitation card? Ling Ju and Imo Tuo toasted and laughed. I want to see it in person. Imo Tuo grunted with a gloomy face. It's not finished yet. After tonight, I will continue to fight with the Shi family. Only through relentless slaughter can one become a Shura blood guard.
Yes.
Shi Yin nodded. Miserable cries came from every corner of the Ling family. None of the people on the cyan bloodbats got down, but simply stayed in the air and struck down at those near them. Those warriors of the Ling and Imo family who were trying to run were grabbed by the cyan bloodbats and lifted up into the air. Then they were torn apart and eaten by the cyan bloodbats. The cyan bloodbats were not only the Shura blood guards' mounts, but also very gluttonous beasts. This was a huge chance for the cyan bloodbats to have a good meal. Sitting on Xiaohani's cyan bloodbat, Shi Yin found that negative energy was gushing into him from all directions. The ground was covered with corpses. After all, most of the warriors were killed in an instant. Their negative energy came out like flood. Even though Shi Yin was still up in the air, he could still feel and absorb that massive negative energy. Bad. Shi Yin's face suddenly changed. The negative energy was so much that he could not bear it anymore. His meridians kept expanding, and he felt that he was almost about to explode. Uncle Xiao, let me go to the bride's room. Let me have some fun, Shi Yin growled. Being stared down by that head-sized eyeball, poisonous Bu Bo's heart shook. A trace of fear flashed across his face. Poison, huh? Xiaohani sneered. The bloody eyeball suddenly flew out of his hand, straight towards poisonous Bu Bo. When that bloody red eyeball was in midair, it shone with a bright bloody light, as if it were the eye of a demon, ready to pull people into the endless abyss of bloodthirst and drag them down to the depths of hell. Just when poisonous Bu Bo was about to make a move, he suddenly realized that the blood in his body was flowing crazily, and he couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood. Blood also started to uncontrollably flow out of his eyes, ears, and nose. The red bloody eyeball didn't even hit him yet, but poisonous Bu Bo was already covered with blood, and that blood was all from his own body. Bu Bo's face suddenly changed, and for the first time, he showed signs of fear. He was too scared to stay, and hurriedly flew away, trying to quickly leave the Ling family residence. When they saw that the Sky Realm warrior, poisonous Bu Bo, had already fled before they even started fighting, both Ling Ju and Imo Tuo, who had put all their hopes in him, felt cold from head to toe. They felt as if all the energy in their body was emptied. Bu Bo was what the two counted on to fight against the Shur family. The reason why these two dared to attack the Shur family with no fear was due to the presence of poisonous Bu Bo. Since Bu Bo immediately fled, they realized that the scar-faced ferocious man was definitely a master that was much more frightening than Bu Bo. The two really became desperate. The Shura blood guards are in charge of slaughtering everyone here. I'll be right back. The Shura king Xiaohani was calm. He shouted at the Shura blood guards on the cyan bloodbats. Then he turned into a flash of red light and suddenly chased in the direction that poisonous Bu Bo had fled. He laughed creepily and said, "My friend, you're not even close to being able to escape from me, the Shura king." Xiaohani instantly disappeared, and his voice also slowly became distant. However, the Shura blood guard slaughter of the Ling family did not stop. Poisonous Bu Bo escaped very quickly, and he didn't even care about the warriors of the poisonous Dragon Valley. His departure completely crumbled the hopes of the Ling family, the Mo family, and even the poisonous Dragon Valley warriors. The Shura blood guards were already strong warriors, and the cyan bloodbats were ruthless matured demon beasts. With the advantage of flying on the cyan bloodbats, the people from the Ling and Mo families were like dead meat on the cutting board, waiting to sliced by the frightening sharp blades, quickly turning into a bunch of dismembered corpses. The Ling family and the Mo family were done for. Zhuasu coldly looked at the merciless slaughter happening below, and couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. The Ling family and the Mo familiae were two of the 5 great families of Tianyun City. They were almost at the same level of power as the Zhua family, but today the two families were going to be killed off. As the head of the Zhua family, Zhuasu was also full of fear when he looked at the Shura blood guards. The Shura blood guard could destroy the Ling and Mo families, which meant destroying the Zhua family would also be a piece of cake. The cruel and cold nature of the Shura blood guards had chilled him to the bone. Zhuasu secretly made up his mind he was going to stick tight to the Shur family. From now on, even if he had to cheekily take the initiative to propose marriage, he was determined to settle a marriage between Zhuashi and Shi Yan. In the bridal chamber, Mo Yinyu and Ling Xiaofeng were full of fear. Peeking through the slit on the wall, they watched the slaughter going on outside. Under Shi Yan's instruction, the jubilant-looking bridal chamber was not crushed by the blood rivers. The row of stone houses in this area seemed oddly out of place among the crumbled ruins of the Ling family residence. "Yinyu, let's escape." Ling Xiaofeng felt cold from head to toe and clenched his teeth. "As long as we're alive, we'll definitely get a chance for revenge in the future. We're still young. Someday, we could also reach the Sky Realm. When the time comes, it'll be an eye for an eye, and we'll slaughter their whole family too." Mo Yinyu's face was already as pale as a sheet, and her eyes were filled with grief. She sobbed, "We can't get out. Once we get out there, we'll be killed by the warriors on the demon beasts. These people, they want to kill off our 2 families. If we get noticed, we'll be killed for sure. I swear one day, I'll kill off the entire Shur family." Ling Xiaofeng's face was full of malice, his expression was twisted, and his eyes were filled with endless resentment. Boom! The door to the bridal chamber was suddenly blown open. Shi Yan, whose body was wreathed with violent and bloodthirsty spirits, barged in with an evil and frightening expression. Behind Shi Yan, there were 2 Nirvana Realm Shura blood guards. They casually stood outside and waited at the door. Their indifferent eyes scanned the whole room. "Young Master Yan, we'll stand guard at the door for you." One of them smiled and said, Shi Yan said with a raspy voice, and walked towards Ling Xiaofeng and Mu Yudai. "Shi Yan." Ling Xiaofeng's face changed, his expression suddenly became insane. "I'm gonna kill you." Boom! Shi Yan was covered with white mist. He struck Ling Xiaofeng's chest with the force of a cannonball. Accompanied by the sounds of bones shattering, Ling Xiaofeng was thrown into the air. When he dropped to the ground, he was already bleeding out of the 7 orifices in his head. He couldn't even move a finger. Ling Xiaofeng was only at the 3rd sky of the nascent realm. Against Shi Yan, who was now at the 3rd sky of the human realm, he was knocked out with just 1 blow. without being able to put up even the slightest bit of resistance. My father is not a warrior. When you attacked to murder my father, did you even think about what you were doing? Shi Yin sneered and walked to Ling Xiaofeng's side, dragged Ling Xiaofeng's body, and forcefully throwing him to the Shura blood guard. Hold him. I need him to watch what I'm about to do. Then, Shi Yin suddenly sprinted towards Imo Yinyu. Imo Yinyu's pretty face turned pale, and she screamed, "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to fuck you." Shi Yin grinned and quickly reached Imo Yinyu's side. His hands opened, his palms facing towards her, and the negative powers in his body formed up and entered into Imo Yinyu's body, forcefully restraining her. Rip. Imo Yinyu's bright-colored silk bridal robe was torn to pieces. Her fair, clear skin was quickly revealed to all those present. "Get Ling Xiaofeng up here. Let him watch closely." Shi Yin sneered. Then he forcefully threw Imo Yinyu's naked body on the bed and immediately got on top of her. He laughed wildly. "Imo Yinyu, do you remember what I said in the dark forest? I once said that I would fuck you one day." The two Shura blood guards were full of excitement. Together they lifted Ling Xiaofeng and brought him before Shi Yin so that Ling Xiaofeng could clearly see what Shi Yin was about to do. Ling Xiaofeng's eyes were bloodshot, and he roared in madness, "Shi Yin, I curse you to damnation. I swear, as long as I still live, I will one day skin you alive and pull out all of your bones. I will make you endure endless desperation and pain for all eternity." You're that guy." Imo Yinyu suddenly screamed. She wanted to struggle frantically, but found that she couldn't stir the power in her body at all. "At that time, I only accidentally glimpsed at you once, and you wanted to kill me, even to capture me, and feed me poison. You truly have a vicious heart. Today is the day of your wedding. I killed off your whole family, and now I will fuck in front of your future husband. Now you know what it is to wish to die." Shi Yan's face was cruel. Imo Yinyu's moaned in pain. The tears of humiliation and grief poured from her eyes endlessly. "Bitch, scream. Outside, your family is screaming just like you are, but they're screaming miserably, and you're screaming lewdly." Shi Yan's face was cold. Ling Xiaofeng was held by the Shura blood guards, and he could clearly see his fiancée moaning painfully under Shi Yan. Ling Xiaofeng's expression twisted. He was stricken with grief. At this moment, he felt worse than death. Chapter 117. The Change of the God Stone. Chapter 117. The Change of the God Stone. Sponsored by Tyler Lehner. Shi Yin slowly woke up. Inside the room, Imo Yinyu had fainted, and her naked body was quietly lying on the bed. Ling Xiaofeng showed a ferocious face. After being caught by the two Shura blood guards, he couldn't do anything. Now, he can only gaze at Shi Yin in hatred. "Young Master Yin," one of the Shura blood guards called out to him. Shi Yin motioned for them to be silent. "I will train for a while. Please protect me." Then Shi Yin sat cross-legged beside Imo Yinyu's naked body and quietly closed his eyes. When he came inside her, the strange power in Shi Yin divided into 3 streams, one of which went into his heart, which had the star martial spirit, and another gushed straight towards his profound chi. The last stream went into Imo Yinyu. The star martial spirit was nourished by that odd strength, and it lit Shi Yan's heart, which was now glittering with a starry light. The star martial spirit had changed Shi Yan's heart, making it look like it was covered with stars. Later that night, the power from the stars gushed into Shi Yan's body, being quickly absorbed by his star martial spirit, which made the star light shine even brighter. In his sea of chi, the light ball of profound chi contracted as a stream of dense power rippled around and began to circulate in his veins. The profound chi was like clean lake water, flowing in the brook-like veins. After every circulation, the profound chi would go back to the sea of chi, and the light ball became smaller. However, its power became much stronger. With his eyes closed, Shi Yin looked inside his body and observed every cell of his body. The profound chi circulated in his meridians again and again, and the light ball became smaller and grew brighter. The profound chi light ball, in his sea of chi, became like a little sun, sending out light and warmth. After many cycles of refinement, the light ball of profound chi had become half of its original size. The essential air between the sky and earth was pulled to Shura. It went into his body through his pores and traveled to the light ball of profound chi. After a while, a cool air came out from the light ball of profound chi. The cool air entered Shura's mind and circulated slowly in his head. It brought a rather refreshing feeling. The odd light spots in his brain enlarged as they were nourished by the cool air. Suddenly, Shura found that he could generate spirit power, which could separate from his body and act on things that were outside of his physical range. As the spirit power extended, Shura could clearly sense the two Shura blood guards' lively energy and Ling Xiaofeng's suppressed profound chi. He could also sense new changes in Mo Yinyu's body. He seemed to have gained an additional pair of eyes, which seemed to have connected with his spirit power. As long as his spirit power reached out far enough, he could feel the lives around him, both strong and weak. The disaster realm? Shura was joyful, as he realized his realm had advanced. So, he concentrated his efforts on operating the light ball of profound chi, causing more cool air to rush into his mind. Not knowing how much time had passed, Shura woke up again. After opening his eyes, he was a little lost. Then he came to his senses and asked the two Shura blood guards, "How long has it been?" "Almost one night." That Shura blood guard hesitated, and then asked, in uncertainty, "Young Master Yin, have you reached the disaster realm?" "Just now, I sensed the power of your spirit." "You seem to be observing us through your spirit?" The other Shura blood guard also asked, his voice filled with surprise. When Shura was in the dead swamp, he advanced to the third sky from the second sky of human realm through the help of an immortal pill. Generally, no matter how talented he was, it was hardly possible for him to advance so much in half a month. To advance to the disaster realm from the third sky of human realm, one needed not only talent, but also huge amount of dense profound chi. In barely half a month, without some treacherous weapons or mysterious pills, his profound couldn't make such a breakthrough. In the past half-month, those Shura blood guards had been with Shura, so they clearly knew that he didn't use any pills. It's hard for them to believe that he advanced by a realm in such a short time. However, they could sense Shura's spirit power, which could only be possessed by a disaster realm warrior. The two Shura blood guards were confused, so they asked together, "Yes, I am in the disaster realm." Shura nodded with a confused smile. "Maybe it's because the immortal pill wasn't entirely absorbed before, and I just finished absorbing it just now." The origin of the mysterious martial spirit was a mystery, and its function was vicious, which was his biggest secret. So he made up that explanation. The two Shura blood guards were confused, so they praised him and stopped asking any more questions. "What is the situation like outside right now?" Shura changed the topic. "The Ling family and Mo family are finished. Their family heads and experts were all slaughtered. Bu Bo, from the poisonous Dragon Valley, was killed by Lord Shao. Right now, he is with the Shur family experts, slaughtering the Biming family. 9 of us blood guards stayed here to protect young Master Yin. The area outside is already a land of death. Now that young Master Yin has woken up, we can go back to the Shur family and wait for Lord Shao, then head back to the Endless Sea." "Okay." Shura nodded and got off the bed leisurely. "Young Master Yin, what about them?" one of the Shura blood guards asked. Getting off the bed, Shura frowned and glanced at Ling Xiaofeng, then turned his eyes to Mo Yinyu. Pondering for a while, Shura walked out slowly. With his back facing to the two Shura blood guards, he calmly said, "You know what to do. Got it." Outside, 7 young family Shura blood guards were sitting straight on the cyan bloodbaths, along with Xia Xinyan, who was wearing a veil. Seeing Shura walk out of the room, Xia Xinyan grunted, and a cold light crossed her beautiful eyes. Shura was unmoved, and he leisurely walked to the cyan bloodbath. After getting on the cyan bloodbath, he glanced at Xia Xinyan. "Why are you here?" Xia Xinyan frowned and grunted, not saying a word. Shaking his head softly, Shura didn't utter a word. but patted the cyan bloodbat and told the Shura blood guards, "Let's go back to the Shur family." Okay. That warrior kicked the cyan bloodbat's neck. After that, the cyan bloodbat moved and shot forward with Shur Yin on its back, heading toward the Shur family residence. Seeing Shur Yin become a small spot, Xia Xian Yan's eyes took on a complicated look, and she sighed softly. Under the bright moonlight, Shur Yin was sitting up straight on the cyan bloodbat, slowly heading back to the Shur family residence. Shuttling through the clouds, the cyan bloodbat soon reached upon the Godstone Square. All of a sudden, Shur Yan's star martial spirit became agitated, and his heart started producing starry light. In an instant, Shur Yin became lost bright as a star, giving off intense light. The starlight became like a curtain and slowly flew toward the magical stone on the Godstone Square. All the Shura blood guards on cyan bloodbats got confused and looked down towards the Godstone in wonder. Boom! A huge blast resounded in Shur Yan's mind, and, the next moment, he couldn't control the power from the stars anymore. The power rushed out of his body and combined with the curtain. The curtain kept expanding and moving toward the magical stone. Bright moonlight descended from above. The moonlight turned into cool air and fell onto the starlight curtain, and the shining curtain thrust itself towards the God's stone. Once the starry curtain touched the God's stone, it was instantly absorbed by the stone. The God's stone, after absorbing the light of the stars, started glittering, looking crystal and cold. Sitting up straight on the cyan bloodbat, Shur Yan's expression became surprised as he gazed at that magical stone. This God stone must have something to do with the Three Gods sect. Shur Yan came to this conclusion right away. The star martial spirit originated from the God of Stars of the Three Gods sect. The God of Stars refined his star martial spirit into the original seal, and he must have done something else. Now that the star martial spirit's energy had turned into a curtain and fallen into the God's stone, he knew that there was some special connection between them. Young Master Yin. Chapter 118. The Goddess of the Moon. Chapter 118. The Goddess of the Moon. Let's go. The warrior on the cyan bloodbat shouted, and strongly stomped on the back of the cyan bloodbat. The cyan bloodbat dashed out like an arrow, while the remaining Shura blood guards turned pale and urged their cyan bloodbats to fly toward the Shur family residence. Shur Yin was shocked. What's wrong? The Three Gods sect is our adversary, and I felt a dangerous aura from the God Stone. Whoever that had revived must be an important member of the Three Gods sect. Once they see the cyan bloodbats, they will know that we are from the Yang family. Since Lord Shao is not here, we are not sure if we can protect young Master Yin from them. The Yang family warrior beside Shur Yin looked serious and alert. The Three Gods sect. Why the Three Gods sect again? Shur Yin frowned and had a bit of fear for the endless sea form. Although he wanted to see what would happen to the Godstone, after he heard what the warrior said, Shur Yin chose to leave with the cyan bloodbat, but he turned back several times to watch the Godstone Square. All of a sudden, a stream of strong moonlight exploded from the Godstone Square. With the huge, thunderous sound, a mysterious woman in a white warrior gown appeared in the Godstone Square. From a distance, Shur Yin found that the woman was extraordinarily pretty, just like a moon goddess with snow-white skin. That woman floated in the air upon the Godstone Square for a while, and then turned into moonlight and flew eastward. A Sky Realm expert. The warrior beside Shur Yin spoke with fear. It's lucky that we left early, or else we would have been killed by her. She is even stronger than Uncle Shao? Shur Yin couldn't believe it. I don't know if that is true, but her chi is no weaker than Lord Zhao's. That warrior deliberated. The Three Gods of the Sun, Moon, and Star of the Three Gods sect have deep understanding of the numerous secret arts of the Three Gods sect. Even for Lord Shao, it would be hard to compete with her. Shur Yan's expression changed. Huh. A cyan bloodbat approached them, upon which sat Xia Xian Yan. Xia Xian Yan's eyes showed some surprise, as she yelled, Shur Yin, what did you do? Nothing. Shur Yin frowned. I went to the Godstone Square, and my star martial spirit suddenly turned into a curtain of starlight, which flew out of my body and fell on that god's stone. Then the god's stone cracked with dazzling light, and a woman came out from the stone. The god's stone had been there for 1,000 years? Xia Xinyan asked in surprise. Shura nodded. Yes, as far as I know, before the Tianyun city existed, that stone had been there. Tianyun city was named after that stone, a stone from the heavens. You know anything about it? Let's talk about it after meeting Lord Xiao. Xia Xian breath, as if recalling some horrible memory. Seeing her lost in thoughts, Shura didn't ask further, though he had some concerns. The cyan bloodbat was flying swiftly. Soon, they arrived at the garden of the Shur family. Xiaohani, Shurjian, and the other people had not gotten back yet, so Shurjian waited for them at the central plaza of the residence. At dawn, Xiaohani, Shurjian, Zhuasu and others slowly flew back from the Baiming family. Looking at them, one can tell that it was a good slaughter in the Baiming family. What? Xiaohani arrived, and just after a glance at Shurjian, he cried out, "Young Master Yin, you. Under Xiaohani's gaze, Shurjian slowly nodded. Well, maybe the immortal pill lasted longer than expected, so I advanced again. Shurjian was stunned. Looking at Shurjian with unbelieving eyes, he yelled in delight, "Kid, you reached the disaster realm?" "Yeah. How did you manage that?" Zhuasu looked strange as he kept shaking his head. He couldn't take his unbelievable eyes off Shurjian. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Xiaohani bursted out into wild laughter. Incredible. Ha ha. Incredible. 17 years old. The disaster realm. You can't even find such genius in the Yang family. Young Master Yin, I'm sure that the family head will treat you like a treasure once you get back. Hearing that, Shurjian's smile disappeared, and he lowered his head and began to sigh. Shurjian was so talented. If he stayed at the Shur family, then they will become the most powerful family in the Merchant Union, and may even rival the royal families of the Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire. 17 years old, in the disaster realm. Even Baiming Su couldn't make it. At the thought of Shurjian leaving the Shur family for the Endless Sea, Shurjian was filled with pain, but he knew he couldn't stop it. Lord Xiao, just now, when we were at the Godstone Square, that warrior told him everything. Xiaohani's face changed and was filled with astonishment. After a long while, Xiaohani looked at Xia Xinyan and said in a serious voice, "Little Xia, what do you think?" 1,000 years ago, the three gods went to the seventh dark world with many disciples. After the battle with the Dark King, Abi, only the sun god returned. The star god and the moon god went missing and never showed up in the Endless Sea again. The star god, Ouyangji, left the fake gate of heaven in the dead swamp and preserved the original seal of martial spirit, but the moon god, Ouyang Xiahua, went missing. Maybe she is that woman from the stone? Impossible. Xiaohani shook his head and interrupted Xia Xinyan. The moon god Ouyang Xiahua was a god realm warrior. Though she had iced herself for 1,000 years, she kept her perception. According to your description, that woman was merely at the sky realm. It wouldn't be Ouyang Xiahua. I heard that Ouyang Xiahua had a daughter, named Ouyang Luoshuang. She also went to the seventh dark world, but she was only a 21-year-old girl. Maybe that woman is her? Ouyang Luoshuang? Xiaohani suddenly realized something. It's very likely. She was at the disaster realm 1,000 years ago. The moon god must have had been badly hurt in the seventh dark world, so she escaped with her daughter and sealed her in the god's stone to shield her. If it's her, then the three gods' Sects' strength will definitely increase. Why? Shurjian asked. The sun martial spirit, moon martial spirit, and the star martial spirit could directly absorb the energy of the sun, moon, and stars. The more the energy they absorbed, the faster the martial spirits developed. In the three gods sect, generally, the older the warrior is, the higher level his martial spirit is. Because the older warrior had absorbed more energy, so their spirit can easily evolve. Xia Xianyan took a breath. If that mysterious woman really is Ouyang Luoshuang, then she must have absorbed the energy from the moon for 1,000 years. We can't even begin to guess how powerful her moon martial spirit has become. In the past, she was one of the god children, and now, after 1,000 years, her moon martial spirit must have reached an unprecedented state. In the battle 1,000 years ago, the three gods sect lost a lot, though the sun god managed to stay alive, but he died after 300 years. However, during that period he created a new sun god, but there have been no new moon or star gods ever since then. But the three gods sect is still one of the strongest powerhouses in the Endless Sea. If Ouyang Luoshuang goes back to the Endless Sea, she will be the strongest moon god ever. The three gods sect will gain much more strength. Xiaohani sighed. Silently, Shi Yin listened to Xiaohani and Xia Xian Yan's conversation, and he became more curious about the three gods sect. Shi Yin obtained the star martial spirit. If he could join the three gods sect and obtain the knowledge to use their martial spirits, he could be the next star god. Xia Xian Yin pondered, and suddenly said to Shi Yin, the star god is very special in the three gods sect. If the three gods sect doesn't know who Shi Yin is, and they teach him everything they know, then… Xiaohani's eyes lit up as he nodded, but it is up to the family head to decide. Sending young Master Yin to the three gods sect for cultivate the star martial spirit. It's very risky. Shi Yin belongs to the Yang family, it's up to you to decide. That was just my humble suggestion. Xia Xinyan said calmly. Sure, family head, I plan to stay for a few days, but now, since things have changed, we have to return to the Endless Sea early. Now that the Ling, Mo, and Baiming families have been slaughtered, I believe you can manage everything. Xiaohani pondered for a while, then he took out 2 books from his chest and handed them to Shi Jian. Here are 2 spirit-level martial skills, which may be of benefit, and this is how you can contact the Yang family. You can tell Ku Luo of the Misty Pavilion if you get into any trouble, and we will know of it. Shi Jian was surprised and happy. After receiving the books, he didn't know what to say. Young Master Yin, we have to set off as soon as possible. Xiaohani looked at Shi Yin. Let me have a little time with my father. Shi Yin nodded and quietly left. Half an hour later, Shi Yin said goodbye to the Shi family and jumped on Xiaohani's cyan blood bat. Before dawn broke, Shi Yin was riding the cyan blood bat eastward to the Endless Sea. Chapter 119. The Devil King Bo Sun. Chapter 119. The Devil King Bo Sun. Upon the vast blue sea was a cloudless sky. The soft wind caressed their faces, making them feel comfortable and relaxed. The Endless Sea was so boundless that one would only see the water and sky, no matter where they looked. The group of cyan bloodbats was flying east through the blue sky. It had been 2 months. For the 2 months, Shi Yin sat on the cyan bloodbat and saw the vastness of the Endless Sea. He rarely saw any islands, though he did see slowly moving ships from time to time. Shura King Xiaohani was a fanatic for training. Apart from telling Shi Yin the dangers of the Endless Sea, the rest of his time was devoted to training. The Endless Sea was mysterious. Shi Yin had seen both serene and peaceful skies and great violent storms in his few months of travel. In some regions, there were huge whirlpools, which seemed to reach down to the deepest depths of the sea. From the swirls, there came horrible bellows of vicious monsters. According to Xiaohani, even by riding the cyan bloodbat, one needed more than half a year to reach the Kiera region, where the Yang family was located. In merely 2 months, the cyan bloodbat had already flown thousands of miles, which was larger than the Merchant Union, the God-blessed Empire, and the Tianyun Empire combined. Xia Xian Yin was sitting on another cyan bloodbat with the 2 towering men, talking very little. Ever since Shi Yin broke into that new couple's bridal room and did those dark things, Xia Xian Yin had despised him a lot, to the point of being not willing to talk to him. Shi Yin didn't bother to explain but, instead, kept exploring how to utilize the profound chi at Disaster Realm. Although, the Disaster Realm and the Human Realm were only 1 level apart, the power of each level was extremely different. At the Disaster Realm, he already had spirit power. This spirit power could extend out and observe other living things. It could also be infused into martial skills and weapons to attack enemies. In addition, when he focused his senses inward, he could see every detail of his body, as if he had a pair of eyes inside. He could see his veins and entrails with clarity. This excited Shura and encouraged him to keep exploring its uses. Every time Xiao Hani woke up, he would generally instruct Shura on how to use the spirit power. Shura knew Xiao Hani was being kind to him. If he had any questions on his mind, he could simply ask Xiao Hani. That day, the sunny sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds. The air was so suppressing that even the cyan bloodbats were unsettled, and they cried angrily every now and then. Xia Xian Yan's cyan bloodbat approached. Behind her veil, her eyes looked elegant. After she approached, she didn't talk, but quietly gazed at Xiao Hani. Before long, Xiao Hani woke up from his training. After looking up at the cloudy sky, Xiao Hani said seriously, "It's quite abnormal, and I certainly don't feel anything good from this. Something bad is going to happen." "Uncle Xiao, you are at the second sky of Sky Realm. Your perception should be accurate." Xia Xian Yan's beautiful hair was flying in the wind as she stood up on her cyan bloodbat and observed the sky. "My reincarnation martial spirit is sensitive to the power of space. I can, vaguely, feel that the space around us is cracking." Xiao Hani's face changed. "We'd better be careful. Somehow, I feel something ominous is coming." Xia Xian Yan reminded. "Space is cracking?" Xiao Hani looked gloomy. "Little Xia, you really feel the abnormity." Xia Xian Yan nodded. "Uncle Xiao, though my realm is lower than you, my reincarnation martial spirit can feel it. I'm afraid there will be a disaster." Shura was shocked as he hesitated and asked, "Space is cracking? What kind of power can crack the space?" "One must be at least at the third sky of the Sky Realm. Only warriors who had reached God realms could truly tear apart space." Xiao Hani's eyes blinked. Years ago, when the family head sent young Master Hai out of the fourth demon area, he also cracked open space. At that time, he was then at the third sky of the Sky Realm, just a step away from the God realm. He managed that with the help of immortal blood. Immortal blood? Shura was astonished. Warriors with the immortal martial spirit can produce immortal blood, which has so many great uses that even I don't know all that one can do with it. However, when young Master Yin gets back to the Yang family, the family head will explain it to you." Xiao Hani explained. Shura nodded. At that moment, from the dense dark clouds, black light shot out, and a huge white bone hand suddenly appeared. That huge hand shined like crystal and seemed to be without any flesh, as it destroyed the space around it. An intense devil air gushed out of the white bone hand, which stirred the air with depressing power. Demon King Bosun's bone skill. Xiao Hani was terrified, as quickly yelled, "He came for me! Little Xia, take young Master Yin away." "Papa." Before that white bone hand had even gotten close, the horrible devil air had already reached them. One after another, cyan bloodbats fell from the sky, having been turned into minced meat. On the cyan bloodbats, those Nirvana real warriors exploded, with their flesh and blood flying everywhere. The overwhelming devil air suddenly invaded Shura body. The devil air started rampaging through Shura body, trying to kill him. At the same time, Shura heart was started putting out a dazzling starlight, while all his negative energy gushed out like a flood. Even that Yin pearl began spinning, forming a Yin swirl, and sending out Yin chi, which quickly covered Shura body. Colorful light shot out from Shura body, clashing with the devil air, and stopping its advance. Without hesitation, Xia Xian Yin operated her reincarnation martial spirit. After absorbing the energy of reincarnation, she instantly stepped into the Sky Realm. The huge hand slowly approached them, and the cyan bloodbats and Shura blood guards died, one after the other. Shura King Xiao Hani looked extremely hideous. As he stirred his bloody chi, 3 broad rivers appeared and attacked the huge hand. In the dense, dark clouds, a black hole appeared and started to devour everything. "Little Xia, leave with young Master Yin." Xiao Hani's eyes had turned bloodshot, and he shouted out his order. Xia Xian Yin was frightened, and she flew over and grabbed Shura by his neck, flying away from there. In the darkness, that huge white bone hand seemed to, again, tear apart the space around it. Bang, bang, bang. The three blood rivers struck on the huge white bone hand, but they couldn't prevent its advance. As the 5 fingers curled, the 3 blood rivers were knocked miles away. Bang! The huge hand came near and snatched up all the people around Xiaohani. Even Xiaohani himself couldn't get rid of that huge hand, and he was soon caught by that huge hand too. That huge hand seemed not to waste any time, so after catching all the people, it withdrew and sank back into that black hole, which was filled with devil air. The white hand retreated back into the black hole, and numerous streams of devil light shot out, like weapons. Some devil light fell into the endless sea, and quickly stirred up a huge whirlpool, reaching to the bottom of the seas. Shi Yin was shocked, and he gazed at the huge hand, dumbstruck. He watched the black hole contract, little by little, until it finally disappeared. After the devil light disappeared, the dense clouds also dissipated. Before long, the sky was restored back to its formerly clear self. Meanwhile, the sea below was in the throes of a huge whirlpool, which had begun to tear the seas asunder. Xian Yin carried Shi Yin and flew away, not looking back. Shi Yin was surprised, and he gazed at the scene behind him, feeling small in front of such a disaster. Chapter 120, Crossing the Sea with a Beauty. Chapter 120, Crossing the Sea with a Beauty. As he was being carried by Xian Yin over the vast sea, Shi Yin was filled with shock. That huge hand, which had torn through space, had carried a massive amount of devil air, so much so that it could grab Xiaohani, who was at the second sky of the sky realm, and take him away. That incredible power horrified Shi Yin, as he realized that he still had a long way to go in his martial arts. Still lost in his thoughts, Shi Yin, suddenly, felt that he was sinking. His expression changed. Shi Yin quickly looked at Xian Yin, only to find that she had a bit of blood on her neck, which must have come from her mouth. "Are you hurt?" Shi Yin asked, concern in his voice. "A stream of devil light was shot here, and I had trouble defending against it, so my heart and lungs were wounded." Xian Yin replied calmly, "My reincarnation martial spirit is disappearing. Once it runs out, I won't even be at the disaster realm of power. God bless you." Shi Yin was astonished. From his view, he couldn't even see a single island or ship. It would take a great amount of luck to survive this. He thought that Xian Yin would be able to take him to an island before her reincarnation martial spirit was used up. That hopeful thought of his disappeared. "I'm finished." Xian Yin's body shook, and a bit of regret flashed in her eyes. She glanced at Shi Yin and mocked, "I can't believe I'm dying with a goat." Then Xian Yin's soft body went down, and her hands, which were holding onto Shi Yin, began to lose their strength. With a rigid face, Shi Yin grabbed Xian Yin's hand and fell into the sea with her. Splash! Shi Yin and Xian Yin sunk a few dozen meters into the sea before they slowly stopped sinking. Salty sea water gushed into Shi Yin's mouth and nose, which made it hard for him to breathe. Xian Yin was hurt by the devil light, and her reincarnation martial spirit had been completely used up, so she fainted right away. In the middle of the sea, Shi Yin held his breath, wrapped his arms around Xian Yin, and kicked his legs to swim to the surface. Pooh! Shi Yin popped out of the sea and took a greedy breath of the fresh air. Floating on the sea with Xian Yin in his arms, he was at a loss about what he should do. On the vast sea, he had to endlessly move his legs and use his profound qi to keep both of their heads above the water, but his profound qi would be used up if he couldn't find an island to rest. Then both of them would drown. Floating on the sea, Shi Yin looked around, yet all he saw was the boundless sea. In his arms, Xian Yin's veil slipped down, and he could finally see her delicate face. Her gown was wet with water, making it stick to her body and revealing a lot, which was very appealing. Holding Xian Yin in his arms and feeling her supple curves, even in this desperate state, Shi Yin was turned on. Xian Yin was a rare, gorgeous woman, and now that her attractive body was this close to him, Shi Yin was having trouble focusing on his current situation. Shi Yin kept taking deep breaths, trying not to think about Xia Xinyan's hot body, and, after a few minutes, he finally managed to calm himself down. I must find somewhere to stand. With a serious face, Shi Yin released his spirit power and extended it in all directions. He sensed that there were a lot of fish swimming in the sea. However, within 1,000 miles, he couldn't find any land to stand on. Treading the water, Shi Yan's eyes blinked. He made up his mind and began to move east. Turning Xia Xinyan over, Shi Yin carried her on his back. 2 plump orbs were pushing against his back, which again stirred up ripples in Shi Yan's body. The woman on his back had the top appearance and hottest body he had seen, and her reserved personality was also quite attractive. But now she had her eyes closed and was leaning against his back. Though Shi Yin kept telling himself that it was not the time to think wildly, his mind was controlled by this gorgeous woman on his back. Carrying Xia Xinyan on his back, Shi Yin began to operate his profound qi, making him swim faster and faster. Meanwhile, he used his spirit power to guide him. During that process, he still needed to fight against his lust with his reason. The sun disappeared into the clouds, and the moon climbed up high into the sky. The power of the stars went into Shi Yan's body and concentrated in his heart. Unfortunately, he couldn't use his star martial spirit. One day passed. Shi Yin was still swimming eastward while carrying Xia Xinyan on his back. Another day passed. Shi Yin still kept swimming, yet now his profound qi was almost used up. His spirit power had already been used up, so he couldn't perceive his surroundings anymore. Now he had to move forward and hope he was lucky enough to come across an island. Even finding a rock would be a blessing. He would be fully satisfied if he found a place to set his feet on and recover his profound qi. In the sea, he didn't dare stop swimming or he would sink. Another day went by. Now he had very little profound qi left in his body, and Xia Xinyan was still in a coma with disordered profound qi in her body. That day, Shi Yin was so exhausted that he was wondering if he needed to use his negative energy. Once he used the negative energy, he would move fast for some time. But the repercussions would also exhaust him. Then he would definitely sink. He had thought about using the Yin Pearl, but it wasn't currently compatible with his profound qi. The star martial spirit gained strength from the stars, but without the martial spirit creed from the 3 gods sect, he could hardly control it. Late night. The moon was like a plate in the starry sky, and the sea breeze caressed his skin. But Shi Yin was not in the mood to enjoy the beauty as his profound qi was about to run out. If he still couldn't come up with any ideas, then he would sink into the sea before dawn. Shi Yin had already made up his mind that he would operate his negative energy as soon as his profound qi ran out. Sure, Shi Yin. Suddenly, a woman's soft whisper came from his back. Shi Yin so glad that he instantly turned his head around. Xia Xinyan leaned against Shi Yan's back, and her head was laying on his left shoulder. As Shi Yin turned around, his lips just happened to press on hers. Shi Yin felt as if he was struck by lightning, and his eyes were soon filled with desire. However, he quickly turned his neck and kept some distance from Xia Xinyan's cherry-red lips. Xia Xinyan's eyes were filled with wrath and stared at him coldly. Not on purpose. Shi Yin was relaxed. I was carrying you on my back all this time. I could have done anything I wanted to. Xia Xinyan's expression changed a little, and she tried to struggle off Shi Yan's back. Her breasts then rubbed on Shi Yan's back, making Shi Yin much hornier. Stop, don't move. Shi Yin suffered while trying to stop Xia Xinyan, and he spoke quickly, his face blushing. You'd better not move if you don't want to die. The desire in Shi Yan's eyes made Xia Xinyan realize it was inappropriate. In just an instant, her pale face blushed as bright as an apple. Xia Xinyan was so shy. Being the pride of the Xia family, she had diligently trained from a young age. For these years, she had devoted herself to training and never took any interest in a man. However, today she was leaning on this goat, her breasts pressing against his back. Xia Xinyan felt so ashamed that she would have killed Shi Yin, if it were not for the fact that she had no energy right now. Staring at Shi Yin, Xia Xinyan's cheeks turned more and more red, and the pace of her breaths quickened. Her shame and anger building, she was getting ready to kill Shi Yin. Shi Yan's expression turned weird, and his eyes were smoldering with lust. Are you turned on? Shut up. Xia Xinyan went into a rage. It's anger. Why are you so perverted? Shi Yin was not angry at all, and he continued, well, I don't think we will live through the night. You are so hot, and it would be a shame to die a virgin. I would be very glad to serve you right now. Shut up. Xia Xinyan struggled and yelled, don't touch me. Put me down. Let me drown while I am still pure. At that moment Shi Yin cried out, we are saved. Chapter 121. A Man and a Woman Alone. Chapter 121. A Man and a Woman Alone. On an isolated island. The island was small, about the size of a large soccer field, and the air around it was humid. There were no living things in sight, except for some small trees. In the immeasurable endless sea, this isolated island was too small, but it brought a hope of survival to Shi Yin. Carrying Xia Xinyan to this island, Shi Yin felt a little relieved. It was the kind of happiness that only those who survived disaster could feel. Putting Xia Xinyan down, Shi Yin sprawled out on the beach, laying down on the sands and not wanting to move a bit. He was exhausted. He had not rested once the past few days, and his profound qi had almost run out. Very few people could endure in an environment like that. It was only thanks to his stamina and strong profound qi that he had made it. Xia Xinyan was at his side, tired and lifeless. Some 3 meters away from him, Shi Yin turned and looked at her, and then teased, well, it seems you can't die a virgin now. Xia Xinyan's expression changed and a cold light crossed her eyes. How dare you? Right now, her energy had not recovered and she couldn't use her profound qi. She would be unable to respond if Shi Yin did something to her. At the thought of Shi Yan's disposition, she was a little worried, though her face showed no fear. Ha ha ha. Shi Yin laughed wildly. Xia Xinyan was both pissed and scared because she didn't know what Shi Yin would do, so she tried to keep some distance from him. Shi Yin wasn't planning on doing anything to her, but seeing her on alert, he came up with an idea to tease her. On the beach, Shi Yin rolled his body and approached Xia Xinyan. In an instant, he was only a half a meter away from Xia Xinyan, his hot eyes gazing into her crystal-like eyes. Shi Yin looked at her teasingly. Running away? You think you can run away? Xinyan, who would win if we fought right now? I remember that you said that you would marry me if I won. Shameless! Xia Xinyan yelled. Stay away from me, or I won't let you go peacefully when I recover. I wouldn't have waited till now if I do want to do something to you, Shi Yin said. He seemed to think a bit before he spoke again. You think you would have left safely when you were in the rain pavilion? That time. Why? Xia Xinyan asked curiously. When in the rain pavilion, Shi Yin found 2 girls to serve him, yet he never touched her. Meanwhile, according to her observations, Shi Yin was a devil, since he raped Ling Xiaofeng's bride in front of him. Xia Xinyan was horrified every time she thought about that. But, back in the rain pavilion, Shi Yin saw her pretty face, yet didn't do anything, which confused her a lot. Why do I have to touch you? Shi Yin showed a rare seriousness. I'm a man with a lot of lust. It's okay to go to a brothel. As for that Mo Yinyu, I almost died at her hands. Of course I wanted to get revenge. Ling Xiaofeng also attacked my father, who was not even a warrior. They deserved it. Pausing for a moment, Shi Yin glanced over at Xia Xinyan. As for you, apart from pushing me to join the Xia family, you did nothing bad to me. I'm not a kind guy, but I'm not a devil either. Xia Xinyan went silent. After quite a while, Xia Xinyan said, I hope that's the truth. Shi Yin nodded, a beaming smile on his face. I'm not a gentleman, nor a monster. By the way, how are you now? You recovered very fast previously. What's up now? The nutrition pills I had have been used up. Xia Xinyan sighed. Without them, I will need at least 3 months to recover. I was also seriously hurt this time, so I need at least 3 days to soothe my profound qi. Okay, Focus on stabling your profound chi then, and I will go prepare some food. Shura nodded, then looked up at the sky. I will take a rest first, then I will go and search for something to eat. Then Shura took a deep breath, sat down in fatigue, and began to operate his profound chi. Xia Xinyan stayed on the beach, laying on her left side. Her long legs looked quite appealing. In meditation, Shura now looked as stable as a mountain. What kind of person is he? After a long while, Xia Xinyan shook her head, turned her eyes away from him, and concentrated on her profound chi. Not knowing how long had it been, Shura woke up quietly and looked up into the sky. The sunlight hurt his eyes. The sun was heating. Shura stood up, feeling refreshed. Most of his lost profound chi had come back, and his fatigue had also disappeared. Turning back, he found Xia Xinyan still lying on her side, but her robe had dried. Her smooth curves, long legs, and white skin were exquisite under the sunlight. Watching her greedily, Shura took a deep breath and jumped into the sea. A quarter of an hour later, Shura returned with 2 fish in his hands. Then he walked up to Xia Xinyan and coughed softly. Xia Xinyan's eyelashes trembled, then she opened her eyes. She seemed to have gained some of her profound chi back as she sat up and glanced at Shura. What? Do you have fire stone? Yes. Xia Xinyan touched the green ring on her finger and, with an odd flash of light, a fire stone appeared in her palm. Throwing that fire stone to Shura, she stood up slowly, blushing. She walked to a small tree nearby and demanded, I need to get changed, don't peep? Okay. Shura nodded, joy in his eyes. That tree was only as thick as his thigh. Xia Xinyan walked behind the tree and took off her robe. The tree was too thin to cover her body, so her curves were clearly seen by Shura. Xia Xinyan took off her robe and covered her chest with an arm, yet her ass was still visible. Her ass was plump and smooth, which turned Shura on. In a second, it was covered by Xia Xinyan's green skirt. Feeling relieved, Xia Xinyan took a deep breath and moved away from the tree. After a glance at Shura, Xia Xinyan was angered as she saw something poking up between Shura's legs. Bastard! Shura quickly stood up. Under Xia Xinyan's angry eyes, Shura looked calm. I didn't peep. I looked. What? It's no big deal. No big deal? See what happened to you down there. Xia Xinyan was so furious that thoughts of killing him started forming again. Well, I'm just potent. That happens to it after a few days without a woman. Shura chuckled and then dashed over to a withered tree. You dash. You dash. Xia Xinyan was so angry she couldn't even speak correctly. Ever since she was a little girl, every man was polite in front of her. They would talk about poetry, laws, or cultivation, but nothing dirty like this. Only this guy went to brothels, talked about dirty things, and tried to flirt with her. She felt humiliated. However, being trapped in such a nasty environment and not having any power, all she could do was feel angry. Before long, Shura came back with a bunch of tree branches in his arms, acting like nothing had happened. He lit the branches with the fire stone and began to roast the fish. The scent of meat wafted through the air. Hungry? Then have something to eat. You can shout as much as you like if you are still mad at me. No one would ever know. Since I did see your body, it's okay if you curse me. Shura giggled, turned a fish over, and handed it to Xia Xinyan. I'm not hungry. Xia Xinyan turned away coldly. Just then, her stomach began to growl loudly. Hee. Shura smirked and walked up, pushing the fish into her hand, and teased. What for? Just a glance. What's the big deal? Or should I take responsibility and marry you? Shut up. Xia Xinyan grabbed the roasted fish and glared at him. Never mind. I should understand you by now. Yeah. I'm a bad guy, a very malicious guy. Shura didn't care at all, and he tore his fish apart and wolfed it down. Barbaric. Xia Xinyan cursed. Then she took out a knife and began to eat her fish. Chapter 122. The Yin-Yang Wonderland. Chapter 122. The Yin-Yang Wonderland. On a deserted island in the ocean. Having grilled fish to eat lightened both Shi Yan's and Xia Xinyan's moods. Especially Xia Xinyan, whose face became much warmer as soon as the grilled fish entered her stomach. After Shi Yan ate his fill, he pondered for a moment and suddenly took out a small bottle from his bag. He went to the water's edge, by himself, and poured a gray powder from the bottle into the sea. He mixed the powder well with the seawater and thoroughly scrubbed his face with it. After a while, Shi Yan returned to Xia Xinyan's side. Her eyes widened, then she snorted dismissively, "Such a deceiver. So this is your true face, huh?" Back in the Shi family, in order to conceal his identity in the martial competition, he had sought for a disguise artist to change his looks. But now, as he was in the endless sea, leaving the Baiming, Ling, and Imo families far behind, he had no reason to conceal his true features. Thus, he removed his disguise. Without the disguise, Shi Yan's looks were quite different. The dark-toned skin became lighter, and the bushy black brows became thinner, like sharp swords which cut through his forehead. His face became a little more angular and less rugged, but with more cold and fierce features. He had a unique, unyielding, and imposing visage. Shi Yan wasn't an extremely handsome man, but he had a special quality, which gave people strong-minded, direct, and fierce impression. Xia Xinyan glanced at him a few more times, and then said, "The look you have right now fits your arrogant and despicable nature." Shi Yan was stunned. So he asked, "Are you complimenting or insulting me? What do you think?" Shi Yan shook his head, as he didn't want to haggle over with her on this topic. His expression slowly darkened, and he suddenly asked, "That demon King Bo's son, who exactly is he?" Whenever he thought about that frightening figure, Shi Yan shuddered in his mind. Being able to rip through space and take away the Sky Realm Shura King, Xiao Han Yi, the master of such earth-shaking powers, had made a deep impact on him. Bo Sun is one of the 2 demon kings in the 4th demon area. Whenever Shi Yan mentioned this terrifying master, Xia Xinyan's expression turned gloomy. In the 4th demon area, there are 2 demon kings, named Bo Sun and Qi Yan. Both of them are nigh invincible. Their demon powers are unfathomable and infinite. It is said that they are both on the verge of stepping into the true God realm. Demons can also cultivate? Do they have the same rankings that we do? Shi Yan was surprised. Of course. Xia Xinyan nodded and explained, not only demons but even the dark dwellers of the 7-fold underworld can cultivate. But, whether it be the demons or the dark dwellers, the powers they gather are different than ours. The demons live in the demon area and they absorb natural demon energy. The dark dwellers, living in the 7-fold underworld, absorb natural dark energy. Demon energy and dark energy are like the natural spirit energies we have here. There are also clusters of these energies that exist in this world. Other than demons and dark dwellers, there are also some foreign clans in the Endless Sea who also cultivate in spirit energies that are different than ours. But be it the demon energy, dark energy, or spirit energies, they are all different kinds of natural powers. The cultivation of warriors, no matter what spirit energies, are mostly the same. Xia Xinyan slowly informed Shi Yan of all the common knowledge in the Endless Sea. She mentioned the demons and the dark dwellers, and the differences between the God Domain and the Grace Mainland. The demon king Bo Sun, Shi Yan frowned. Why did he attack Uncle Xiao? Back in the day, the head of the Yang family, Yang Qingdi, brought powerful warriors from the Yang family into the 4th demon area. They killed a demon master in the 4th demon area. I believe Master Xiao should have told you about this? Yes. That demon master was under the command of the demon king Bo Sun. In the 4th demon area, there are 4 demon masters, 2 of which follow the demon king Qi Yan, and 2 of whom are devoted followers of the demon king Bo Sun. Yang Qingdi killed one of Bo Sun's demon masters, so of course Bo Sun would go against the Yang family. Bo Sun is on the verge of stepping into the true God realm, so even if he were to attack, he would have gone for the head of the Yang family. Why go for Uncle Xiao? Shi Yan was very confused. Who said Bo Sun had to attack? Xia Xinyan glared at Shi Yan, then said coldly, that giant white skeletal hand was only one of the 3 skeletal avatars of Bo Sun. Although the skeletal avatars are pieces of Bo Sun, they're not his main body. Bo Sun's original body has always been in the Cave of 1,000 Demons. He won't easily come out. If that were really the main body of Demon King Bo Sun that attacked us, do you think you and I could have really escaped? What? Shur Yin was shocked. You're saying that giant bone hand, out of the 3 of Bo Sun's skeletal avatars, was only the hand of one of them? That's right. Shur Yan's heart was shaken. Only a hand of one of the skeletal avatars was able to cause so much movement in the endless sea. It ripped through space and directly grabbed Xiao Han. If it were the Demon King Bo Sun himself, how much power would that be? Xia Xinyan seemed to know the shock in his heart, so she didn't rush to speak, and instead she only looked at him. After a long time, the look in Shur Yan's eyes became firm, and he said, "That certainly is a terror. I really hope I will one day be able to fight with the Demon King Bo Sun." Xia Xinyan was stunned, and her beautiful eyes were filled with strange emotions. You're only in the first sky of the disaster realm. How could you dare to rave about fighting with Bo Sun? Even after 100 years, you will still be unable to go against one of the skeletal avatars of Bo Sun. The Yang family members sure are all arrogant. None of you know what you're worth. Shur Yin smiled. I'm still young, and I have plenty of time to catch up. One day, maybe I can also become known in all the heavens and can split the skies with my bare hands. Xia Xinyan was silent, but, after a while, she finally nodded lightly. She didn't say much, but inside, her view of Shur Yin had changed. For an ordinary warrior, after seeing the invincible power of the Demon King Bo Sun, it would probably leave an everlasting shadow in his mind. Let alone fighting with the Demon King Bo Sun. Maybe they would have been occasionally affected by the shadow in their mind while cultivating, and would never be able to get rid of that shadow. But Shur Yan's mind was as solid as stone. Not only was he not afraid, instead, his monstrous will to fight was activated, growing to have the arrogant thought of one day battling with the Demon King Bo Sun. With such disposition, as long as his luck and talent could follow through, he would surely someday stand on top of the world. Is Uncle Xiao going to be okay? Shur Yin suddenly sighed and said sadly, Uncle Xiao helped me out a lot in the Merchant Union. I really don't want anything to happen to him. AI, too bad my strength isn't enough, or else I would have definitely slaughtered all on the way to the 4th demon area and take Uncle Xiao back from Bo Sun's hands. I don't know either. Xia Xinyan shook her head. I'm afraid that even a skeletal avatar of Bo Sun is impossible for Master Xiao to defeat. Hopefully, the heavens would help a good man like Master Xiao and help him survive through this disaster. Shur Yan's expression was full of frustration. He shook his head and sighed, then said, If anything happens to Uncle Xiao one day, I will definitely avenge for him and slaughter that Demon King Bo Sun. Xia Xinyan's face changed. She was more and more stunned by Shur Yan's arrogance. In the vast, endless sea, there were many strong figures and countless powerful warriors, but none could dare say that they could slaughter Bo Sun. This guy is only in the disaster realm, having just stepped into the threshold of martial arts. While clearly knowing the monstrous evil powers of the Demon King Bo Sun, he could still speak of such arrogant things. Could he really be a madman? Shur Yin didn't explain, but this raving statement wasn't really that arrogant to him. There was no other real reason, but he was sure the mysterious martial spirit inside him would provide him with limitless potential. As long as he was constantly killing, he would naturally be absorbing negative energies, and could then transform them into extraordinary powers to nourish his martial spirit and profound qi. He only needed to kill several thousand people, and that would be equivalent to decades of heavy cultivation of an ordinary person. With this special feature of the mysterious martial spirit, one day, he would be able to talk face-to-face with the Demon King Bo Sun. Of course, he would never tell anyone else about this. The next 2 days, Shur Yin and Xia Xinyan both stayed on the deserted island. They survived by eating fish meat and drinking fish blood. The sea was endless. There were no flying demon beasts, nor were there any giant ships. It might as well have been wiser to stay on the island than to blindly leave. Xia Xinyan also approved of this. These past 2 days, other than eating together, They both cultivated on their own and did not disturb each other. Another day passed. Sitting on the sand, Shura extended his mind's power, and he suddenly sensed an object in the distance. Instantly his expression bloomed. As he quickly stood up and shouted to Xia Xinyan, "There's a ship." Xia Xinyan came over from the other side of the island and followed Shura to gaze, looking out to the east. In 15 minutes, an enormous iron ship slowly appeared. The iron ship's flag flew in the ocean wind, looking majestic. "Aya! Aha!" Shura screamed loudly. His shriek pierced through the sky, like the howls of wolves. Xia Xinyan frowned and covered her ears, cursing him in her mind. She glared at him bitterly. That enormous iron ship seemed to have heard the calls and slowly started sailing towards them. Shura waved his arms and continued screaming. "Hey!" he suddenly exclaimed. There was a shady look on his face as he chuckled. "Xinyan, that ship seems quite interesting." On that giant steel ship hung many flags. Lifelike erotic images were embroidered on each of the flags. There was a couple in the wheelbarrow position, a couple in the lotus position, a couple in the flower on the back position, and many more like this. Under the blowing of ocean wind, those erotic images flew wildly. The lifelike men and women on those erotic images looked as if they were coming to life and showing great vigor. Xia Xinyan flushed, and she suddenly thought of something, exclaiming, "The ship is from the Yin-Yang Wonderland." Then, Xia Xinyan quickly touched the green jade ring on her finger and took out a pack of powdered medicine, which she quickly smeared on her face. A few minutes later, Xia Xinyan looked like a different person. Her breathtaking appearance was completely gone. Instead, her face was yellow and dark and filled with pimples, making her a slightly ugly young girl. "What the hell are you doing?" Shura was dumbfounded. People from the Yin-Yang Wonderland tend to heavily indulge in their lust. They're one of the most unique forces in the endless sea. The disciples of the Yin-Yang Wonderland cultivate through sexual intercourse, so outstanding-looking men and women become targets for disciples of the Yin-Yang Wonderland. At the moment, my power has not recovered, so if I were to reveal my true face, I'm afraid I'd be doomed. After finishing up her disguise, Xia Xinyan finally relaxed a bit and spoke indifferently. Shura exclaimed, and then frowned and said, "Then wouldn't a uniquely tempered and extraordinarily handsome man like me be doomed to suffer?" Some male disciples of the Yin-Yang Wonderland are also gay. Xia Xinyan said indifferently, secretly feeling delightful. "Gay?" Shura's face quickly changed. Chapter 123, 1 Palace, 2 Divine Lands, 3 Wonderlands, 4 Sects, 5 Families. Chapter 123, 1 Palace, 2 Divine Lands, 3 Wonderlands, 4 Sects, 5 Families. The ship moved through the wind and waves and slowly approached their little island. On its deck, many pretty, young girls were standing on their tiptoes to see who it was on the island. There were flags with lurid sex scenes dancing with the wind. Those people on the deck were pointing at Shura and Xia Xinyan and chatting with each other. After changing her appearance, Xia Xinyan wore a cold expression, standing still on the sands. Shura stopped howling and frowned, looking tired. At the beginning, he was excited and curious about the people on that ship, especially when Xia Xinyan said they were from the Yin-Yang Wonderland, which had very open views on sex. Shura was looking forward to having some fun in the future. But when Xia Xinyan mentioned that the males from the Yin-Yang Wonderland also liked men, Shura suddenly got depressed. It was too late to regret, as the ship had already come near, and they didn't know how long they would need to wait if they missed this ship. Without any other choices, Shura decided to try and board the ship, hoping for the best. Soon, that 100-meter-long ship arrived at the shore. Women and men were walking busily on the deck, most of whom were rather good-looking, ranging from 13 years old to 40 years old. "Who are you? Why are you here?" A yellow-faced thin man on the deck asked loudly. He looked to be around 40 years old. This guy was at Nirvana realm, yet he spoke with a loud voice, looking cautious. "We are from the west, heading for the endless sea. Our boat came across a storm and was smashed. We barely escaped and were washed here. Please take us from here. Shura crossed his hands in front of his chest and spoke with hopeful eyes. From the west? That guy frowned, narrowed his eyes, and examined Shura for a while. Then he looked at Xia Xinyan and said coldly, Got anything good with you? We won't save you for free. Shura was surprised, and then smiled in embarrassment. Our belongings were washed away? Let's go. That yellow-faced man grunted and shouted back, Not going to pick up Shura and Xia Xinyan. Shura frowned without saying anything. In his bag, there was a level 6 demon crystal and many crystal coins. But he was cautious. He knew he would be killed, rather than being allowed to step on that ship if he showed his treasure. So he'd better pretend to be poor, for even if he can't step on the ship, he could still live for a couple of days. Seeing that man's leaving, Shura was relieved, though his face still showed worry. Wait a moment. At that time, the lazy voice of a woman came from a room on the ship. A window was cracked open, and a woman looked out through it. Standing on the sands, Shura looked up at that window and found a light was shining down on him. It was a woman. Shura relieved and calmed down. Priest Jew, what can I do for you? That yellow-faced man frowned and asked unhappily. The woman behind the window giggled. Well, I see the two miserable-looking people. Our plants, under the deck, need people to take care of them, and we have many dirty things that need cleaning. Just bring them aboard and let them take care of those. Now that priest Jew had said it, I have to do as you said. That yellow-faced man hesitated, knowing what she wanted, but he nodded. Pull in. Let's get them aboard. Li Wei, arrange them. Don't let them ruin the plants. That yellow-faced man ordered, and walked upstairs, frowning. He didn't pay any more attention to Shura and Xia Xinyan. A handsome young man smiled and announced to that man's back, Don't worry, uncle. I will deal with it. This young man was at the second sky of Disaster Realm. Though he looked young, there were several wrinkles around his eyes. Shura and Xia Xinyan looked at each other and walked to the iron ship together. They climbed up the ladder one by one. After getting onto the ship, Shura found the ship was rather spacious. It had 3 decks and was made of black iron and wood. Dozens of men and women stood on the deck in couples, some of whom were kissing. From the rooms on the ship, moans of men and women came every now and then. Shura was rather shocked by what he saw. They were more blatantly sexual than many of those brothels in the world, which even surprised Shura. Xia Xinyan looked indifferent, for she despised the atmosphere here. She chose to keep her head down. The iron ship had 3 decks, and they were put at the bottom, where it was wet and stuffy. Li Wei showed them to a shabby room, opened the door, and frowned, quickly backing up. His eyes wandered over Xia Xinyan's body and became complicated, ugly face, but hot body. Would be okay at night. Xia Xinyan, who lowered her head, had a chill come across her eyes, and she quickly bit her lips. Shura walked over to Xia Xinyan and grabbed her hand. We are a couple. 1 room is enough. Being caught by Shura, Xia Xinyan struggled a little at first, but as soon as Shura said that, she stopped struggling. A couple? Li Wei's eyes became complicated, and he nodded. You can use this room. Rest for the night. Tomorrow, you shall move the plants to the top deck and clean out this lower deck, understand? Got it, Shura replied. Li Wei nodded. His eyes wandered over Xia Xinyan, and then he smiled. I want to kill him. As Li Wei left, Xia Xinyan said with a cold face. Not until you regain your energy. Shura walked into the room. He found it to be extremely small, no more than 5 square meters. Apart from a dusty wooden bed, there was no other furniture in the room, not even a quilt. The room was windowless, stuffy, dirty, and filled with spider webs. As Shura walked up to move the webs, dust filled the room. Xia Xinyan didn't walk in, but frowned and stood outside, watching Shura clean the room. The Yang Wonderland is one of the 15 powers in the Endless Sea, close to the Corpse sect, the Barbarian sect, and the Chao family, which oppose the Yang family and the Xia family. We can't expose our identities here. While Shura was cleaning the room, Xia Xinyan started speaking in a low voice. 15 powers in the Endless Sea? What are they? Shura glanced back at her, and then continued to clean the room. In the endless sea, there is 1 palace, 2 divine lands, 3 wonderlands, 4 sects, and 5 families. The martial spirit palace, the heaven lake divine land, the Palai divine land, the magical wonderland, the yin-yang wonderland, the evil wonderland, the 3 gods sect, the sacred sect, the corpse sect, the barbarian sect, the yang, dongfang, chao, xia, and gu families. These 15 powers are the strongest in the endless sea. Apart from them, there are many other sects and families. Xia Xinyan explained. You said that the 3 gods sect and the Yang family are in the different camps. Now this yin-yang wonderland is in a completely different camp too? How many camps are there? Shura asked. There are 5 seas in the endless sea, and each sea is a camp. The Yang family, the Xia family, and the evil wonderland are in the Kiara Sea, belonging to the same camp. The yin-yang wonderland, the corpse sect, the barbarian sect, and the Chao family are in the Tattoo Sea. The martial spirit palace and Palai divine land are in the Sky Sea. The heaven lake divine land, the magical wonderland, and the sacred sect are in the Black Sea. And the 3 gods sect, Dongfang family, and Gu family are in the Hengluo Sea. The 5 camps are always fighting each other. Now I feel that this has become complicated. Shura shook his head. However, this doesn't bother me, because the endless sea keeps getting more and more interesting. Since we boarded this ship of the yin-yang wonderland, are we going to the Tattoo Sea? The Tattoo Sea is far from our Kiara Sea. In the yin-yang wonderland, warriors of elementary, nascent, and human realms are general disciples. Warriors of disaster and earth realms are core disciples. Warriors of nirvana realm are priests. Warriors of the sky realm are elders. And the highest masters are the Queen of Sky and King of Earth, who are at the God realm. There are only 2 nirvana warriors on this iron ship, so they must be priests of the yin-yang wonderland, who are in charge of collecting medicine, jade, and silk for the yin-yang wonderland. We have to be careful, otherwise, we may never reach the Tattoo Sea and leave this ship. Xia Xinyan frowned. It's okay now. Come on in. Shura said. The room was clean, after Shura's efforts, but there was still only 1 bed. Xia Xinyan glanced at it and frowned. You stay on the bed, and I will sleep on the ground. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Don't be nervous. I don't trust you, Xia Xinyan grunted, but then she walked into the room, sat cross-legged on the bed, and began to train. Shura wanted to ask more about the endless sea, but seeing that Xia Xinyan was silent, he quietly sat down and began to train. They kept silent for a night. Chapter 124. Here, on this ship, you are my girl. Chapter 124. Here, on this ship, you are my girl. The next morning, Shura slowly opened his eyes. He felt full of energy and his eyes shone with light. After cultivating for an entire night, Shura felt refreshed. It seemed that, after all the disasters he went through lately, his state of mind had somehow changed. His mind's power erupted and wandered around the lowest deck of the iron ship. His mind moved through the air and touched many flower pots. He estimated that there were roughly 100 flower pots on this level, with the smaller ones only being palm-sized, but the bigger ones being basin-sized. His mind slowly spread to the middle deck. Suddenly, waves of different mental energies seeped through and hurtled towards Shura's mind. Shura's face changed, and he quickly withdrew his power as he immediately realized that there were many disaster realm warriors on the upper decks. Many of these warriors had very forceful mind powers. They were like powerful giant waves, with fierce strength behind them. Earth realm, Shura gasped. He quickly realized those strong responses were from the minds of Earth realm warriors. There were a couple dozens of these warriors on the middle deck, which put a bit of fear in Shura's heart. The disaster realm is different than the realms that go before it. When cultivating, you need to gain experience. Only if you experience different dangers and live through all kinds of different challenges, gaining insight from them, can you break through to the next stage. Apparently Xia Xinyan was already awake. She glanced at him and spoke indifferently. In the disaster realm, just having the most vigorous profound chi itself is no use. Even if you go back to the Yang family and take some elixirs, without the support of a strong mind, it would be hard for you to break through quickly. Yin also noticed the difference in this realm as he nodded and said, It seems that sometimes danger isn't always a bad thing. I have a feeling that, once my body recovers, I should be able to step into the Earth realm. Lately, I've experienced many things, and these experiences are enough for me to take a whole step forward. Xiaoxinyan's eyes were glistening with light. The Earth realm? Yin grinned, and he chuckled. Doesn't that mean it will be a lot harder for me to catch up to you? Xiaoxinyan didn't bother to pay attention to him. She quietly snorted and slowly got down from the bed. You too. Get up and start working. A crisp voice came from the stairs that lead up to the higher decks. Soon a 17 to 18-year-old girl, with bristling eyebrows, appeared at the door and pointed to Yin, saying, You, go carry these flower pots up to the deck. The woman will be responsible for cleaning this level. There will be no food or water for you if you don't finish these duties. Then with a kata-kata sound, the girl went upstairs. She spent as little time down here as possible. Let's go work. Yin smiled. There's no such thing as a free feast in this world. It seems that it won't be easy for us along the way. Xinyan, if you can't handle it, I can help you a little after I'm finished with my work. There's no need. Xinyan coldly replied. You should be careful yourself. Don't get caught by the gay guys. Yan's expression darkened, and he spoke angrily. Are you intending to piss me off? Xinyan rolled her eyes, and as if she felt delighted, she said dismissively, I'm just reminding you to be careful, which is for your own good. You're so ungrateful. Yin snorted, stopped arguing with her, and started carrying the flower pots. Time passed quickly. With the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. In these 10 days, every morning, after he got up, Yin would carry the flower pots from this level to the deck. Then, after the sun set, he would carry the flower pots back. He repeated this every day. Xiaoxinyan was the same. She worked downstairs during the day, clumsily cleaning the dust on this level. During these 10 days, whenever Yin finished his work, he would go down and help her clean the dust and the filthy objects. Slowly, Xiaoxinyan stopped being cold to Yin. Sometimes when she talked to him, she would even give him a rare smile. It made Yin feel warmth in his heart, and he wouldn't feel dull in these days at all. Every day, after the two finished their work, that girl named Xiaofeng would bring food and water to them. The food was just some salted fish and steamed bread, which didn't taste that great. Yin didn't mind, but even when he gorged down all the food, he still wouldn't feel full. Xiaoxinyan, on the other hand, had never been through such hardships. She worked her ass off every day, but still only had this poor quality food to eat. Her appetite became smaller and smaller. Every night, the two would be squeezed in that tiny little room, listening to the shouting of the cultivating couples upstairs. In the beginning, Xiaoxinyan felt very awkward. She was flushed to her neck and wouldn't even look at Yin. She feared that Yin might turn into a lustful beast and do some indignifying things to her. Then as time went on, she saw that Yin had been behaving calmly. Although he did flush a few times, he didn't take any further actions. Soon, she let down her guard. In the end, the two could even listen to the lustful sounds upstairs and casually chat at the same time. Another day passed. Yin spent 3 hours bringing all of the flower pots up to the deck. Then he immediately returned to the lower level, ready to help Xiaoxinyan clean up the junk. What are you doing? Suddenly, Xiaoxinyan's shout came from the lower level. Yin scowled and sprinted downstairs. He quickly saw Li Wei standing at the door of the room, shamelessly pestering Xiaoxinyan. Behind Li Wei were 3 male disciples from the Yin Wonderland, who were all in the first sky of the disaster realm. The 3 smiled lazily. Xiaoxinyan had been recovering quite well lately, but she still couldn't use her profound qi, or all her progress would be for nothing. Li Wei was at the second sky of the disaster realm. He was a core disciple of the Yin Wonderland, and also the nephew of that yellow-faced man. He had quite a powerful position on the ship. He was obviously not here with good intentions. Sure, your face looks a little ugly, but your figure is quite fine. The lighting on this level isn't that great. so I can bear with it. Stop struggling. It's a great blessing for you to be able to accept my favor. Once you're mine, you'll no longer have to work hard on this level. The quality of your food will also get much better." Li Wei smiled as he stormed into that cramped room, speaking with disdain. "That kid can't protect you. If you don't want to become fish food with him, you better be good. Girl, it's a blessing for you to enter the eye of Brother Wei. Frankly speaking, with your looks a normal man would never be interested. But Brother Wei is special and can accept women with a good figure. If you stay put, there will be plenty of benefits for you on this ship." At the doorway, behind Li Wei, a yin-yang Wonderland disciple at the first sky of the disaster realm spoke persuasively. "Get the hell out of here." Xia Xinyan stood inside the room, her expression cold and her eyes were piercing. "Hee, once I have my fun, I'll go." Li Wei smiled, an obscene look in his eyes. Suddenly, a shadow stormed into the room, like a cannonball, and his shoulders knocked away the 3 disciples guarding the door. Shi Yin made his way into the room. With a cold expression, he kicked Li Wei's back, sending him flying. He slammed hard onto the wooden wall of the room. "You want to die?" Li Wei brushed away the blood on the corner of his mouth and slowly stood up. He glared at Shi Yin and said sneering, "This is a ship of the yin-yang Wonderland. You're digging your own grave. Fuck off. Now." Shi Yin furrowed his brows. His expression was annoyed. "Kid, you're dead." The 3 warriors outside the door immediately sprinted their way once they could react to the situation. Shi Yan's body quietly petrified, and the yin qi and the profound qi formed into a gravitational field, completely blocking up the door. The 3 disaster realm warriors all fell into the gravitational field, and their bodies involuntarily started spinning. Shi Yan's expression was cold. His eyes were like sharp blades. He suddenly sprinted towards Li Wei, his fingers forming into spears, gleaming in the chilling light. Li Wei's expression changed, and he opened his hands. A grayish-white light burst out from his palm. Bang! Shi Yan's finger stabbed right through the light ball, making his arms tingle. The finger continued and pierced through Li Wei's chest. Thump! Just as Li Wei stood up from the previous blow, his body was again struck against the wooden wall, his face filled with panic. Taking a step forward, Shi Yin grabbed Li Wei by his neck, lifting him high into the air. Shi Yan's eyes were murderous. He grinned and said, "You dare to have wicked ideas about my girl? I'll happily cut off your limbs for you." Li Wei was single-handedly lifted up by Shi Yin. His feet were dangling in the air, and he couldn't muster any strength to oppose this. Li Wei's eyes showed a flash of fear, and he was having difficulty breathing, constantly struggling and hitting Shi Yin with his fists. Shi Yin had already activated his petrification martial spirit, and there was also a layer of dark light covering his body. No matter how hard Li Wei tried, he couldn't even make a dent in Shi Yin. Shi Yin was standing as still as a stone. "Shi Yin." Xia Xinyan was slightly surprised. She suddenly exclaimed and stared at him while shaking her head, signaling that he shouldn't take Li Wei's life. This was the first time she saw Shi Yin attack. She was secretly stunned by such fierce and ruthless attacks. The warriors outside and Li Wei were all disaster realm warriors, and amongst them, Li Wei was actually at the second sky of the disaster realm. But all these 4 people were restrained by Shi Yin on the very first encounter. Moreover, the 3 by the door were still strangely spinning. God knows what methods Shi Yin used. Li Wei was the worst. He was restrained almost instantly, without a single chance of fighting back. Even Xia Xinyan, who had seen plenty of capable young men, was surprised by Shi Yan's ruthless and fierce methods. She wondered how Shi Yin, who had just entered the disaster realm, could possess such unyielding powers. "Roll your ass out." Shi Yin threw Li Wei to the floor and kicked him out. Li Wei kept rolling on the floor, and he actually did roll out. Shi Yin released the gravitational field and, together, the 3 warriors by the door fell onto the floor. Taking a step forward, Shi Yin stood by the doorway and spoke with a cold expression. "I am not staying on your ship as a freeloader. Next time, if you dare to get any more ideas about my girl, you will never be able to enjoy women again for the rest of your lives." Leave. Don't let me ever smell your stench again. The four disaster real warriors, including Li Wei, looked at Shi Yin with clenched teeth. Let's go. Li Wei stood up. His expression was twisted. Scowling, he turned around and walked away. The three disaster realm warriors on the ground all grudgingly stared at Shi Yin. At last, they quietly stood up and followed Li Wei out. Shi Yin was blocking the doorway like a doorkeeper. His eyes were sharp, and murderous thoughts flashed across his eyes. He said indifferently, "Those four kids won't let this go easily. We should get ready. Maybe we would really have to resort to escape by jumping into the sea. Fuck, I haven't even gotten to play with their girls yet, and they already dare to have ideas about my girl. Those fuckers really want to die." "Who are you calling your girl?" Xia Xinyan clenched her teeth and glared at him bitterly. "Here, on this ship, you are my girl." Shi Yin turned around and smiled widely at her. "As for the future, you never know." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.